Are we on, bro?
Yeah. We're running. This is running. Welcome to Imagine Knowing Nothing, aka Conspiracy Cutz, Volume 11. It might as well be. And I got my two conspiracy guys here at once. We got Al the Barber, aka Al the Quran guy, and my boy Masta Deadly, aka Coach Dens, in the house. So thank you guys both for popping in today.
Salams.
Thank you. And yeah, I mean, I figured it would be fun to have, both you guys like to get in these weird convos with me, and both you guys come from different perspectives, and I got my own perspectives, so I figured, hey, why not
join the force?
See what bounces off of each other as
trifecta.
Far as the
the tripod.
no freaky. So yeah, I don't know. Like, where do we even start? I mean, I think we, because of the timing of it, have no choice but to at least start with mentioning this, world news that everybody can't stop talking about. This 5-man homemade submarine,
bro.
Titanic Junior.
Yeah.
I mean,
Titanic Junior.
This is such a crazy story. Where do we even start?
Should we start with the Titanic not even being the Titanic at the bottom of the ocean? It's the Olympic.
Let's start there.
I like that.
That's a great place to start.
Might as well get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey,
or
puns intended and everything.
Some people don't even know about the Titanic and the Federal Reserve and the people on the Titanic.
Let's get into all of the history of it for people who have no idea, because Imagine Knowing Nothing.
Indeed.
So the history of it goes like this. It starts with, obviously, the Titanic. Everybody thinks it's just some love story movie that they saw and went to the 9th grade dance and sang the song.
Which, did you see, is now hitting Netflix July 1st again?
Oh, of course it is.
Of course.
But they said it was already in the works. They can't go back on the
sunk the
contract.
Titanic.
Insane.
He's probably a shapeshifter who sunk the Titanic.
He's sketchy, bro.
He's sketchy.
He's sketchy, bro.
No, but so it starts with the Titanic. And the Titanic was, I mean, some would say the conspiracy goes some type of inside job, some kind of
false flag.
Yeah. Basically, the story goes that certain influential, very rich people were on the boat, and other influential rich people would have a huge benefit for those other rich people to not be around anymore.
And some other rich people decided at the last minute, you know what? I think I have other plans. I'm not getting on the boat.
Correct. Certain people just so happened not to go on this epic journey that, only it was like the thing to do if you were rich.
Yeah, exactly.
JP Morgan.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're naming names.
Fuck it. Yeah. It's Imagine Knowing Nothing, bro.
So,
Uncensored.
Bottom line was the 3 guys who were on the ship confirmed wanted to start their own banking system situation. They opposed the start of the Federal Reserve. And these guys were all on the boat. And these guys all obviously were in the disaster of that. And all of the people who were not on the boat who started the Federal Reserve all benefit. They literally all benefit from it.
Big time.
There's also other little things you can get into on that end of it, but we got to keep it rolling if you want to keep understanding the story. And so from after there, you get to the point here where people who are really rich want to go to the bottom of the ocean and see the remains of the Titanic, which there are other conspiracy theorists who believe there is no Titanic at the bottom of the ocean. So let's go into it. What validates these claims of the conspiracy theories that exist that you see on the TikToks and everything else?
Well, for me, an easy one of the best documentaries I ever saw. It's only like 55 minutes. It's less than an hour. And it's the one that at least talks about how it was an insurance scam between the sister vessel, the Olympic, and the Titanic. And so it's really not, and this one was a case closed for me. It's one of those ones you watch it and you're like, oh yeah, the Titanic didn't sink. It was the other ship. So there were 2 ships built, the Olympic and the Titanic, exactly the same, except for a couple like minor differences, like the floors were a little different, some furniture was different. And
it's like the Port Jeff Ferry. Yeah, there's like 3 of them, but they just have
the Barnum or the
Grand
Park City,
Republic.
Right? Exactly. You had Miss Pac-Man on the one.
The P.T. Barnum.
So the Olympic was damaged. It was already out at sea for a couple voyages or whatever, damaged, and they weren't going to get an insurance payout or something. And they basically swapped them out, shifted some names, took the plaques or the title Olympic and put it on the Titanic and the Titanic on the Olympic. So I saw this documentary, and it didn't even really go into so much the Federal Reserve stuff.
Of course.
It touched it a little bit, but it was really more about, like, I was like, oh, most people might even think about that idea of the Federal Reserve with the Titanic, but I saw this and only like a couple of years ago, and I was like, dude, it's not even the Titanic. So I forget the name of it. I wish I did, but maybe
we'll call it the Osprey for now.
Yeah, or just the Olympic. Look up the Olympic. It was actually on Amazon Prime Video, which
that's what
crazy.
the documentary was on?
Okay. I still saw it on YouTube, which was interesting.
I'm sure it has the word Titanic in it. You can Google it, people.
So what I saw, though, recently, and you want to get conspiracy-wise, it's like, we all know jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams, and lukewarm ice in icebergs doesn't penetrate 1-inch thick steel on a vessel that was literally built to not be sunk. So whether it hit an iceberg or not, that's not why it's on the bottom of the ocean, in my opinion.
I think most people would agree. It's like the iceberg thing is thin when you look at it from like a common sense and practicality perspective. Is like, how does that really make sense? Like this crazy, massive, unheard of quality and technology ship just first voyage hits a random iceberg and sinks to the bottom of the ocean right away. It's kind of a little too convenient. And what we talk about all the time with the conspiracy stuff is if it's too fucking convenient.
Yeah. I'm not buying it.
It's not a quick, easy sell for me here.
No.
Yeah. So let's continue on. What other validity is there out here that you've seen to these claims?
So I have a customer. This is interesting because it's a new customer of mine. He works for the Coast Guard. Like he's part of the Coast Guard. So he was on the crew that was part of the search and rescue shit. This is straight up what he told me, bro. He said, we were searching for no reason because the first day they heard about an implosion, they knew they were dead.
Yeah.
Right there, boom.
Well, the news came out 6 days later that they knew, like basically the government knew there was an implosion. They heard the echo of the explosion with their sonar or whatever the fuck it is.
They knew they were dead right then and there.
And they went and did the whole rigmarole and ran the whole news cycle anyway. For what reason? So now this is where
distraction.
So now this is where we turn the corner of the story.
Here, don't look over there.
So what's going on So here's the thing:
Hunter Biden.
Okay, well, that's one thing. What else?
Well, wait, I don't want to get distracted from that point, though. Distraction, yes, always, right?
Yeah.
But, so, the Rothschilds funded that homemade submarine that, was controlled by a video game controller.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes.
Oh, wasn't one of them on it?
I don't think so.
I think a relative of them was on it.
Oh, a relative of Strauss. I think Strauss who was on the Titanic. One of the families that was on the Titanic, the wife of the CEO of
OceanGate.
OceanGate.
Yeah.
Which is a funny name. I mean, this thing stinks of psyops.
Also, I heard somebody saying on Instagram the other day, like, why is there only like pictures and like old video of them like sitting in it, like posing, but not actually getting in it and going into the water? If it was such a amazing voyage,
you would think they have.
Yeah,
like,
you don't think they have. They don't have a film crew for their fucking combined over $1.5 million.
Meanwhile, they found the 2 passports of the fucking terrorists on the 9/11 shit.
Yeah.
Out of that whole wreckage.
Oh, yeah, right.
And it was great because the news commentator or the anchor, whatever that guy, I remember that clip. He says it. And at the end, he goes, if you can believe that. And it's like, no, dude, I can't actually. No, I won't.
Bro, it's so funny. Like, the whole thing is like such an insult to intelligent people. Anybody that buys that crap the news tells you the way it happened, if you buy that shit,
you're fucking brain dead.
You're fucking brain dead. You might as well turn off this fucking podcast and just.
Well, the thing is, back to Fox News, back to your brainwash, back to your predictive programming.
Back to your fucking programming, turn this shit off.
And here's the problem is, if you don't have the open mind to even think there's something outside of like Fox News, then there's no helping you.
I tell people all the time, the truth and real official stories, if you will, is like an onion. And when anyone cooks with an onion, that outer layer, you don't cook with that shit ass skin of an onion, right? You cut it and peel it. That's anything that you're hearing for the first time from the news. Just that should be your kind of algorithm. Oh, the news is saying it for the first time. This is the official story. Know that that's the shit layer of an onion. And you gotta peel it, and I not even say like the truth hurts, right? You cut an onion, you cry a little bit, like yo, you gotta check yourself and
once you
really
get to
dig
the
deep.
middle of the onion is actually sweet.
Yo, that's why
The rest of it makes
the
you
layers
cry.
of truth being
There's
an
the
onion is
layers.
a good analogy
Facts.
because
It's probably
you literally
That is
need
the
to
most tasty
discard
part
that
of it.
first
what
That's
outer
a good
layer.
analogy, bro. That is a great analogy.
And so also about this homemade submarine.
Yeah, that's what I'm calling it.
So
It's the
this is
homemade
where
submarine.
this is when I knew something was up. When
Did you
Adam-
guys see Black Panther?
Yeah.
All right, well, on Black Panther, I know you're Mr. Not Comic Guy. No, but
movies.
in Black Panther, the young college girl builds like this crazy
Iron Man
machine,
suit, fake Chinese,
and then also builds a crazy Iron Man suit.
Alibaba
And that's
Iron
basically
Man
what
suit.
these guys did. Is these rich
Yeah.
billionaires just like had some science student
Yeah.
build them like a homemade remote control submarine.
Yeah. So I have a theory behind. So basically, I knew something was up when obviously if it's in the news cycle all the time, nonstop.
Yeah.
That's your first.
It's a
red-
distraction.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or then this one was interesting because the memes hit the internet like that.
Immediate.
So
Bro, they already produced
Yeah.
a documentary the second day.
the documentary.
Documentary's coming out next week.
Yep.
Bro, they're still in there.
And so I knew, I was like, all right, so what's going on? And then I would think about it more. And then the other detail that kept on jumping out is this idea of a video game controller.
Yeah.
And it's an implosion. So
First
look
off, it's an old ass Amazon video game
Yeah.
controller. This is not even like a fucking
but
decent
what does
one.
a
It's
video
like-
game controller do? It controls, the word control is in it, it controls something digitally. So you have the Titanic starting the Federal Reserve, and now you have some bullshit story about a submarine that implodes and was controlled digitally. So it's literally
End of the Federal Reserve.
It is starting
Symbolic.
It is symbolic.
Well, you know what they
for
just started,
and the
right?
digital currency.
You know what they're starting this month, right? Fed now.
Right now.
But now,
Yeah.
I told you, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
and for me, it's like because you got to understand the symbolism, or at least look for the symbolism. And right away, that jumped out for me. I'm like, okay, the Titanic. It's like if you make those connections, you know for sure. I don't think we're getting out of this year without a major financial crisis from this
no.
story alone. Like September.
Well, the
probably
crazy
is
thing
gonna-
is, if you didn't think on the trajectory that we're on that we weren't in a recession last year already, you're brain dead.
Brain dead.
And if you don't think that we're already in the start of a depression here, you're also brain dead.
And if you think the dollar even has a chance of surviving anything, and debts, you know, hey, if we just stop spending, or how come the politicians aren't balancing the budget? It's like, bro.
Well, I
that
heard
ship
the numbers
sailed
the
a
other
long time
day.
ago.
They did some. I mean, it's the numbers are astronomical in the past 2 years. Just alone, what they've spent in the past 2 years, what they've created, the amount of money they printed.
They printed 65% of all the money in circulation since
In the
the
last
COVID bullshit.
4 years.
in 4 years they did that much.
Yeah.
People don't even. So we're talking about the Federal Reserve, like, oh man, like conspiracies or what's going on. People don't even know what the Federal Reserve is.
No, they
It's a
don't.
private bank that prints money out of thin air. It doesn't even print money at this point.
Well, I heard an analogy. It's
digital.
like, so wait a minute.
It's
They
imaginary.
arrest and prosecute counterfeiters for counterfeiting money, and then they have their cronies
Because the
counterfeit
government's
money.
doing-
Yeah.
that's the
And that's
government
literally
shop.
is what the Fed does, is they
Yep.
just counterfeit money.
Literally.
They literally just create fake money.
Bro, you know when you
And
take
everything
out a
is just
loan-
when you think about it as a whole, the economy is nothing more than fake numbers and computers.
It's a bubble.
And none of them mean, literally not one number means a thing.
Yeah.
It's just all controlled by
Even-
whoever
e-
controls the numbers.
Even the whole idea of the Federal Reserve and then the banks, fractional banking. You put $1,000 in a bank, all of a sudden they say they have 10,000, and then they loan out
Exactly.
9,000 and make
Exactly.
money. It's like, dude, the whole
It's
thing
money
is
that
a
doesn't
scam.
exist.
It's and also Federal
It's
Reserve.
not even
There's-
printed.
Yeah, word magic in Federal Reserve. That's why people.
Yeah.
There's nothing federal about it. There's
Nope.
no reserves.
Exactly.
And so I have people that literally like I'll say stuff like that, and they're like, they look at me with the fluoride stare first, and then they'll come back a week later. Yo, man, I never knew that. Like I looked, that's crazy. Oh, it's a
Bro,
private
there's
bank.
an actual fact. So for people that's questioning it, you can literally look up the dollar bills that was printed before 1970. Actually, on a dollar bill, it would say one silver dollar certificate.
Mhm.
So your dollar was actually worth $1 worth of silver.
Correct, because it was literally backed by
After
something.
1971,
That's when the Fed was enacted.
Yeah,
was
Nixon.
71.
they did a Bretton Woods agreement. It's a fucking whole new system where they said it's a petrodollar system, but it's not even true. It's just
And if
fake
you
money.
look- Yep.
And it just said on the dollar bill after that date, every dollar printed, it says one so $1
Promissory,
Federal
right?
Reserve note. It said no.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
no,
paper
no.
and ink. That's all. And with that money, they print it. They can come into other countries and buy up your properties. They buy your farmland, all that Monsanto shit. They can buy any fucking farmland and just control the food supply. That's what they really.
Well, I mean, to some degree, all the billionaires and stuff literally control.
I mean, if we're gonna
Most of
talk
it.
about the Federal Reserve, we might as well talk about the root of money itself and how satanic it is. But why is there a fucking pyramid on the dollar? Let's start with that.
Yep.
Like, let's get to
Well,
the very
the pyramid
bottom
of
it.
the pyramid of providence is very symbolic, and we know that these guys love symbology.
More even than the pyramid is why is the capstone of the pyramid dislodged and have the all-seeing eye in it?
Well, that's
It's
the pyramid
like-
of providence. Yeah.
right. Like
It's the symbology is it's the coming of the Antichrist. That's their Lord. That's why it says on the dollar Novus Ordo Seclorum, which translates new secular order.
It's a new world order.
It's not just a new world order, it's a new secular order. It literally says, everybody look at the back of your dollar bill. It says Novus Ordo Seclorum.
I'll buy that for $1.
It means new
Me
secular
too.
order, which means secular means government without God. Government without God is as satanic as it gets, bro. That's the message.
Yep.
If you show, bro, let's show it to the, might as well show it to the camera. Right here on the dollar bill, it says Novus Ordo Seclorum. And there's also,
The mockery is in God we trust.
Oh yeah.
I was just going to say that.
Right,
And then
like
there's
what it-
also, if you zoom in, we can't do that right now, but if you zoom in, there's the owl
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in there.
Yeah, the
and
owl's
then
in there. Yeah.
There's the Israeli flag with the 5 stars, and then the 13 stripes, which represents the 13 families. And
Oh
then
yeah, the
there's
13 families, the Council of 13.
leaves,
Yep.
and then the 13 arrows, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then
The
you
amount
know,
of symbology on the printed money is insane.
And most people will just be mindless about it. Oh, it buys my coffee. I don't even want to use it. Give me a credit card instead.
Every single guy who they put their face on any type of money was a Freemason. Every single one of them.
yeah, George Washington himself had his own statue.
Every
built.
person who is immortalized on money was New World Order.
Angelo, if you could find that, bro, that's like as satanic as it gets, bro. He had his own statue built that he looked like the Baphomet, as above, so below. Like he had it himself.
Who? George Washington?
Yeah,
I
the
never
OG,
seen that.
bro. Yeah, you never did.
Yeah,
Because
well,
it's
the guys
not-
on the $1 bill, you know he was.
Yeah,
Right. George Washington Baphomet statue.
exactly.
BAPH, whatever.
Baphomet, yeah. BAPHOME.
I'm actually just mind boggled. I'm trying to think. I'm processing even what you just said.
That's
I
him
didn't
right
even
there,
realize
bro.
that shit. That's crazy.
That's the dude.
Oh, is that it right there?
That's the dude.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy. That's literally the hand gesture right there, the up and down shit. Yeah, again, more
These
symbolism.
are our founding fathers, and these are, these are Freemasons.
You know, that's
These
the
are
thing is
33rd
we
degree
talk about it all the
Freemasons.
time. They literally get off on rubbing it in your face like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what it's all about to them, is that they can rub it in your face.
I did a whole video on Baphomet and the kind of origins, or how like the Freemasons were even the old school Knights Templar.
Oh yeah.
And
Knights Templar is definitely some of the original
dude,
shit.
I have a friend. He may or may not end up hearing this or watching this, but he writes me this text about because he goes to a lodge and he's a Freemason member.
There's one down port, bro.
Yeah,
That's
that's,
there's
that's
one-
the one he's a member.
By
of.
the way,
Oh
hidden
my
in
God.
plain
And
sight, and
this
no one knows it's
guy-
there. By the way,
it's
Bro,
right there, bro. Like
he didn't come at me, I guess, but wrote me a text about feeling personally attacked, and if I think that Freemasons are pedophiles, and like why are we friends?
well, there's levels to it. So
And-
not every single Freemason is a
That's
pedophile,
what I'm-
but they work their way up to be one.
And
Like,
I was like, dude, in what
It's
part?
literally
In
a
no part
system.
of my video did I mention anything outside of the 33rd degree elite Freemasons, like
Yeah.
that
Stuff
you
that you'll
will
never attain.
never
be part of that.
ever.
well, that's
Those are the
what-
1% of the
thing is, the
1%,
people who
Literally.
join. Can I tell you something? The people who join normal lodges and shit like that has nothing to do with what we're talking
that's
about.
just
Yeah,
more
I
like
know,
a
and-
union.
and-
that,
No,
like,
yeah, yeah,
the lower
yeah.
levels
It's
is
like,
they don't have a clue. To them,
no,
it's
it's
just
a
like
different- it's a
wearing
different
ring
animal.
and a handshake, and they feel special and they look out for each other. But then there's the upper levels where you have to sacrifice some babies, maybe, and then you become a politician or maybe the president. That's literally how it works.
I don't know how the fuck.
Or maybe
any of that
you
shit
dance
works.
in the woods in Bohemian Grove and
Yeah.
do some weird shit and sacrifice children. That's the 33rd degree. There's levels to this shit, bro.
Yeah.
Facts.
This is literally how it is. You might as well
Facts.
say it as it is.
I mean,
The bottom levels, they're gonna be offended because they don't even fucking probably know like
Well, they
what the
don't.
upper levels are doing. They're
don't.
being used. They're pawns.
Yeah, correct.
They're fucking
how much
sheep.
evidence do you need, right? Like, so I put this video together, all the music stars. People don't even realize this. MTV, Masonic
Masonic
television.
TV.
The headquarters is in a Masonic lodge. You
Yeah,
can
that's
pull
where
that
they
up.
do Jimmy Kimmel's show. You can Google it.
But it's
Literally
music
Google it.
television, even though there's nothing music. It's all fucking trash now on that.
Oh, there's
show.
not. First off, there hasn't been music on MTV since like 1988.
But it's music.
Now it's Kardashians and some
So,
other
like,
reality shit, bro.
You know, you want to talk. So that's one where someone would be like, "Oh man, quit with the conspiracy."
What does VH1 stand for? I want to know.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, it's just what's that saying? Like, for those with eyes to see, the signs are everywhere.
Oh yeah, that's for
And
sure.
and a lot of times people just, you could say it's cognitive dissonance. You could say it's just the power of mind control. But I think that the greatest character trait that somebody can possess, especially now, if they want to have any chance in what's coming, is to just be open-minded, to question what you believe, and to consider that maybe, just maybe, all this shit that's happening in the world is because there's some evil motherfuckers out there that want you to not have a good life.
Yeah, bro.
But
You gotta
most
be-
people are like, want to call me crazy. It's like, yo,
You
dude,
gotta be crazy to think that
The
evil
thing
doesn't
is,
exist. At
we've
this point.
seen through history, we've seen how people have manipulated things to literally create the scenarios you're talking about. It's very ignorant to act like they couldn't still be doing it today on a much bigger volume because they have all these tools at their
Now it's
disposal.
legal.
Well, it's not just legal. It's
It's people wearing suits and
this is
ties
like this is
doing it
like
now.
big. This is one big machine
Yes.
with so many cogs in it that you couldn't imagine.
well, I think the big thing too, right? So governmente, or goober. I think the Latin translation or the word origins is to control the mind.
Of course.
And so if you think about government and government control and what the government wants, there has never been more mind control technologically, right? Like, look at our cell phones.
Well, Big
Those
Brother.
are black mirrors. That's an occult symbol. Black mirror is literally,
it's a portal.
it's a portal. And so Apple,
They say like whatever it was, what was it, Snow White or whatever? It's like mirror, mirror on the wall or whatever.
Yeah,
They said that's like
exactly,
that
right.
was like an
Mirror on the
actual spell back in the day.
the
It is an
TV
actual
show on
spell.
Netflix, Black Mirror, there,
Yeah.
it's so
Well,
when
Black
you-
Mirror, it's also very convenient when you think about it as far as the symbolism in your face that you don't understand stuff, that during all of this stuff, now Black Mirror is back in that spotlight too.
Yep.
That's all everybody's been talking about. I still haven't watched it because so many people have been
Bro,
talking
that
about
whole
it.
thing
I'm like,
is,
nah, that's like
pre-programming.
watching the Grammys now.
Every
it's like, no, thank you.
episode
Yeah.
will happen in real life. And
Indeed.
Yeah, I
everything
bet.
in Black Mirror is already happening in real life.
Yeah.
Some of it is
the
going
one
to happen.
that one episode with the
And what about
there
The
was like a
Simpsons?
mechanical dog.
The Simpsons predicts everything, and the creator of The Simpsons
It's
is a
not
Freemason.
prediction.
Yeah,
You,
they're-
you think that's a coincidence too?
It's not.
well,
It's not a
most people will
prediction.
be like,
It's-
"Oh,
they're
that's
in on
crazy.
it.
What are they in a time machine?" It's like, no,
Nah.
Matt
No.
Groening is a
He's
33rd degree
he's a
Freemason,
fucking top level
and is
guy.
literally planting seeds in your subconscious and predictively
He
programming.
works. First
letting you
off,
know
he
what's gonna
works
happen.
for Fox.
You know what people don't realize about Fox too? It is so if you do,
Fox is 666 as well. The letters add up
oh,
to
my
6.
man knows.
You see what I'm talking
Oh.
about
My
with
man
my
knows
boys?
what's
I,
up. That's
I
why
know
we're
how to
here.
bring people
And it's
together of
the
like
only-
minds.
Dog, give
It's
me
the-
anything. Apple phone.
I'm like
Alright. This is why it's a bitten fruit.
Yep,
speaking of
represents-
forbidden fruit.
it
Yo, there's
represents the
fucking
first
fruit
sin.
flies in here. I got to talk to the manager.
flies.
Dude.
yep.
The Apple logo itself is the forbidden fruit.
They're
which
coming after my
represents the
beer,
first,
dude.
Represents the first sin, and the first Apple computer was sold for $666.
That's
and
crazy,
The latest
yo.
iPhone was sold for $999. So
That's
on and so
another
forth.
thing, right? People don't realize a lot of times it can be in 666 format, or the 9 is just an inverted 6. So
Correct.
696 is still your
Or
666.
333.
333.
Or
Or
sometimes the letters, the Hebrew letters.
What about
Like
444?
the Monster drink. You know the Monster drink?
Yeah.
It's not an M. It's
Oh,
just three.
I've seen the videos on
I
that.
showed it to you.
Yeah.
It's the 3 Hebrew letters for the letter VAV, which is, if you look it up,
Yep.
it's
There's
666.
all sorts of the video you sent me. It's all sorts of connecting shit to how it's evil. And wasn't it Israel Adesanya who was giving it the middle finger or something?
Yeah, Israel Adesanya ended the fight. He called out all the pedophiles.
Dude's a fucking real motherfucker.
He was,
Shout out
he straight
Israel
up pulled up
Adesanya.
all the Epstein list. He said, "Where's the Epstein list?" Then
Yeah, Israel Adesanya. I love
Although-
that kid. He's a fucking stand-up character.
This could be total coincidence, but he came out when it was, I think, in 2019. He fought in Australia, and he came out to his song, and all of the guys behind him were wearing masks. And I don't know if that was like, if he's involved or not, but like, you can't always question everything, like, and think everything's a conspiracy. But when you see stuff like that, for me, I'm always like, man, that's a little strange, because then all of a sudden we have the fucking pandemic and the masks. But no, I like Israel Adesanya.
No,
I mean, at least from a fighting perspective, the guy's.
I like his fighting.
I also love when you hear his fucking interviews after the fight.
He's a little cocky, but
you know what? When you're that good, you're allowed to be.
You kind of have to be.
Yeah, 100%.
I get it.
Guys who are like that good at fighting should, if there's,
first off,
if there's a get out of jail free card for being cocky, it should be guys like that.
100%.
But it's the entertainment industry, bro.
So wait, let's circle back to the submarine stuff real quick, because I feel like we didn't finish it because we kind of went. We had to go on a tangent to understand it.
The fact that,
but we've gone through
Titan.
the tangent. Let's go back to this situation because there's more to unfold on that. I feel like.
Well, I saw another thing too about they're going to now start issuing permits to who's allowed to go visit the wreckage. So if the whole it hit an iceberg is bullshit, then if you get the technology, more and more people can go visit the site, and then they're like, "Hey, wait a second, this isn't the Titanic." And B, what do you mean? Why would it have sunk from this damage?
You know what? They're also at the point where they probably don't care because it's like JFK, where they're just like, "Yeah, so what?"
Yeah.
And what are you gonna do? That's how they feel. That's how they act. It's like, so what? What are you gonna do about it?
I got a great conspiracy about this shit. Well, I heard that one of the guys actually wanted to dive by Antarctica, and they were applying or trying to make that happen.
Well, I love this because I wanted to talk about Antarctica,
and
because Antarctica is a big one.
So
I feel like it's a huge one.
Antarctica is very big.
Himself, that drowned, I guess.
Circular too.
It might. Well, see, this is what I'm
where
ready.
we differ, bro.
No, I'm ready to have this convo.
Let's go.
So let's have this convo.
Well, I shouldn't say what it is, but I think it's certainly not.
So
is on
my theory is that the Titanic didn't hit an iceberg; it hit the ice wall. Because Antarctica is just an ice wall. No, it's just an ice wall. It goes around the whole circle.
Okay.
An ice wall, and there may be something on the other side of the ice wall we don't know
about. Let me
about.
ask you a question.
But
what do you think is in Antarctica?
Who knows? Who knows what's beyond Antarctica?
What do you think is in there that we're not allowed to travel in there? We're not allowed to explore.
If you look at the
like
historical records,
Canada.
Graham Hancock talks about it all the time. There's enough historical record to make the assumption that it's possible that at one point Antarctica was lush, wasn't frozen. Even if it was a long time ago, at one point,
there's maps of that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
some will argue of the validity of the timing of all these things. At the end of the day, we could all agree at some point, it's very possible, if not 100% certain, Antarctica it wasn't frozen over at some point. So the question is that we can debate is, were humans alive yet? I would argue yes, 100%.
I wouldn't argue with that. I would just say it was different type of humans. It was possible.
All I know is there's a lot of weird, if you look into like not textbooks on historical evidence, but historical evidence that just exists of people who were exploring Antarctica before the whole world made a treaty. The entire world made a treaty. That we're all going to go in cahoots. No one's allowed to do nothing over there. We're all keeping it off limits, right?
Admiral Byrd.
But for what? Because they were exploring it, so they found something to protect and let no one else know about.
Because the Nazis were flown there, and all of their science along with it, and all of their technology, they're trying to hide from mankind, all the flying saucers and all that kind of shit, and they're hiding it underground bases in Antarctica.
I mean, if there was somewhere to do all that shit, where better than that? The spot no one's allowed to go.
Exactly, bro. That's the spot.
How about this? If the Earth is like the UN logo and more of a flat plane, right? And the Antarctica is really an ice wall. And there's a firmament. The firmament.
First off, by the way, these tees are available.
The shirt.
That is a nice shirt.
The firmament is real.
I need a double XL.
So yeah, in Antarctica, then if Antarctica is this ice wall, the firmament you would find in Antarctica. That's where it would come down. And then if
Correct.
you want to get out of this realm, so to speak, under the ice or through the ice, right?
Oh, there's the ice wall
outside.
that's in the water as well. Did you guys
Oh,
see that?
I
it
saw
goes
that, yeah.
super deep.
I just saw a video
I
of
can't
that recently,
imagine.
actually.
I mean, I don't remember what the depth was, but they named the depth of how deep it went. It was like a lot.
I still don't think Earth is flat, but I think there's just only one reason that they just don't want people to see all the shit they're working on, and it's just the perfect spot ball. But I don't think the Earth is flat. But I think there's a firmament.
Well,
I
here's
think
the
all
thing:
that,
is
but
you believe in the heliocentric model because mostly from our talks, I've gathered.
I believe the Quran, bro. I'm the
Well, I
Quran
was-
guy. In the Quran, it actually says it's
this is what I want to get into. Is like
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
in the Quran, what is the theory of the heliocentric model that it explains? Because I know you've explained to me enough that the Quran goes very deep in weird details, almost in code. That once you see it for
Yeah.
what it is, it's like, wow, that's crazy. That's written into that shit. It's that
I didn't
detailed
realize
and
the
deep.
Quran was a heliocentric model.
It is.
Book, you
So he'll explain it deep in more depth than I can, but I just want his perspective on this part.
Well, as far as the shape of the Earth goes, bro, there's a specific ayat that says the Earth is like it's not perfectly circle. It's like pressed at the poles. It says there's an ayat. I don't know the order of it right now, but I know the ayat says it's a globe that's kind of like pressed from the top and the bottom, like where the poles are. It almost looks like an ostrich egg. The word they use is kind of like an egg. And there's another ayat, another verse that says everything orbits around the sun and then orbits around itself. And the whole verse itself is written in a way that it's a palindrome.
A
Whatever.
palindrome,
A
yeah.
palindrome. So it's like, that's one of the ways we believe that. It's
So I
and
think
also, like, bro, if you look at everything else is, if you look up, the moon is a globe, the sun is a globe. The chances
I would
that
argue-
Earth is just flat and everything else is a globe.
I would argue that their discs doesn't necessarily have to be a sphere the way we see it in the sky.
You could say that. You could say that.
Just in terms of like devil's advocate for that, because I've heard people say that
You
a
could
lot.
say that.
And you could be like, well, if I'm on a flat billiard table and I'm looking at round billiard balls, that doesn't mean that the table has to be round. Just
So this is where it gets tricky. So we're a limited species, so we only see certain dimensions. We don't understand dimensions outside of the third dimension.
Very let's
So maybe
super validity to
So
that.
maybe as we see it, it's three-dimensional because we're programmed to see it that way.
True.
So maybe outside of this reality, and once we die and we lose our physical bodies, we morph into the next dimension. It's all different. Everything is different. So what we think is right now could not be.
Well, that's for
We give
100% certain.
Humans do this thing where we just give a definition to everything.
Mhm.
So we like to
well,
think
first
that
off,
we
if
know
you're in the
everything.
Truman Show Matrix, which we are,
Right.
it could be anything.
Time.
It's all ones and zeros
but
of
I-
a computer. We could be
Yeah,
whatever. We could
Someone
be in anything.
somewhere in history decided time is 24 hours a day and then 365 days a year. Like all this shit is made up.
I agree with that. And anything
It's your
that's
perception of
labeled
it.
or described is always going to be outside of experience, and experience is all that matters, right? So it's like this idea of telling or labeling something.
I did
I
send
wanna-
you a video while we're on the thing of the firmament of that rocket getting shot into the firmament
Bouncing off of it.
and literally just hitting a fucking wall and then like woo, and like going.
when the rocket that's spinning and then doop.
No, this was like a guy on a plane watching this rocket come through the clouds, and he videotaped it from the plane. So it's like it's from the perspective above the clouds.
I saw that video, and to me, that just looked like what all the rockets do. That what goes
They
up
arc.
must come down, and it didn't. Yeah, I didn't interpret that as hitting the firmament. I mean, which I know they've done in terms of Operation Fishbowl and Operation Dominic Fishbowl, which most people.
as Hillary Clinton would say, is we got to break that glass ceiling.
Yeah. So this is actually interesting, Al, that you were talking about.
Yeah.
That where do you not reconcile, but in terms of like, so when I get into discussions with people about the heliocentric model, the glue that holds it all together is gravity.
Correct.
In terms of, well, wait, this
Yes.
doesn't make sense. Or when you postulate a question, somebody's like, well, gravity's the answer.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, I hate that answer because gravity is a whole
but
thing.
check
itself.
this. Gravity, we're taught, started with Newton in 1666, mind you, who was a Freemason. And the story is an apple fell. So there's your apple, there's your 666, and there's your link to gravity. And then the 666 is all over the heliocentric model. All over it.
That's scary.
And so, and
The
then
amount of times the
Ptolemy.
666 passes in the mathematical equations involved in like what they base everything in the universe on is fucking weird.
but it gets worse, right? Like Copernicus, Ptolemy, Galileo, all these guys who are associated with the heliocentric model,
yeah,
all Freemasons. If you look at all their portraits and pictures, they all have a globe,
they're
square,
all
and compass.
they have a compass. They're all holding. Every guy
So,
involved with the heliocentric model is holding a compass,
I'm
which is
very-
the fucking Freemason symbol.
I'm very skeptical in that regard alone, just knowing what we know about Freemasonry.
Which I also sent you, Angela, by the way.
But I like that. I had no idea about the Quran. Like you know what? Ayurvedic, I think it's called. Cosmology is another one that is a new thing that I'm starting to look into, and it's like an Indian cosmology.
Well, I love that. I love
But you know
anything
what
Indian
they're-
because it's so old and there's so much history in it. And there's weird
And-
shit with Indian stuff that is very unexplainable.
Dude,
It's
their
connected
devil-
to Sumerians. bro.
they're-
Because I think it probably that might be Indians might be the ones that like are most closely associated with whatever it started from.
Could be.
Their devil is a nanotechnology.
Is it really?
Yeah, bro. And this is a fucking religion and like a cosmology that started before computers. I mean, obviously, I think there's technology that existed
Yeah.
that we're not taught about, but
Bro,
this,
so they
it's
have
based around a nanotechnology.
gods. I don't mean to act like I know everything about the Indian mythology. I just know that they have some gods where they like literally talk about gods having spaceships.
Oh yes, Vimanas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
they're called Vimanas, and they literally in the Vedas, which is like
Yeah.
their scriptures,
They
they literally have
advanced
like
technology.
blueprints. They have
Yes.
like they have unadvanced blueprints of these things, like the shape of them, how they worked, the whole thing.
Yeah.
They also have mentions in those books of like basically without calling it nuclear weapons, but nuclear weapons.
And they have pictures of their gods holding a bag, just like the
Oh, yeah,
Sumerians.
they're all holding the bag.
holding
Yeah, you are
And
right.
That's in also the Greek mythology. That's in the Sumerians. That's in the Anunnakis.
I mean, there's also
It's
something about
freaky, bro. How they all have it. Aztecs have it.
there's
They-
also
you know.
something freaky about them kind of when you start talking about meditation and yoga and chakras and when you do DMT and everybody comes in contact with these Indian entities. All of these
Demons.
things are a little too convenient, and when we're gonna say it again, full circle. When it's a little too convenient, I start looking at it more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
bro.
so when I look at Indian old scriptures and stuff like that, and you start to really dig into it, it just gets more and more interesting to me because there's too many things that are very connected with real life.
Yeah.
When you learn something for yourself, and then you start seeing the patterns and that kind of stuff, it's like then it's
And
impossible
that's-
it's impossible to start to recognize.
And that's when it's real. Like, so your Kundalini awakening.
Correct.
Right? No one can come up to you and be like, that's bullshit. Because you
Correct.
experienced it.
Correct.
You didn't learn it. You
No.
knew of it, but you didn't read it
No,
in
I
a
never
book.
knew of it.
Oh, so you didn't even know of it.
I literally had to Google this happened to me.
Wow.
And it was like Kundalini Awakening. And I
That's
started
awesome.
looking up
Yeah.
Kundalini Awakening. I'm like, holy fuck, that's exactly what happened to me.
That's awesome. You know what's crazy about that? The chakras, the colors, and the order.
Well, I felt it. So I felt them start. And that's what scared the living fuck out of me as the experience was happening. Because I said like to myself, like, yo, like, what the fuck is that? Like, because I wasn't even fully in my body at this point, I would say. In the tech context of my consciousness, I felt like I was like halfway in my body, and I felt the first one activate, whatever the fuck I call it activate, but I felt like this, it felt like this is how I describe it to people. It felt like a nuclear reactor had just been started.
Was it your gut? Like
It
gut
was
feeling?
very at the
It
lower
was like
part of my
your-
body.
Yeah.
You know your gut is like a brain.
Well, no, then my belly button hit. And
Yeah, no, it was the
Oh.
root chakra.
and then it
first.
was like, yeah, and then the next one was like, it started quicker, like, and it was like it felt like another nuclear reactor had attached to that one, and then it was like, ba-boom, ba-boom, and it kept on going faster, and it was like, next thing you know, the craziest energy rush that you could possibly imagine flowing through my entire body, through the top of my head, and it was just like this existential, unbelievable thing that you can't put into words. And then the afterglow of it was literal nirvana. They call it nirvana. It was ultimate bliss. It was the ultimate bliss. And I couldn't fathom what the fuck had just happened. I just literally, the second I was coherent enough to like start putting puzzle pieces together of my situation of what had just occurred, I immediately just started Googling, like, what the fuck? And the more I dug into it, the more I was like, wait a minute, Kali is a god, and that's the exact thing that I encountered, and it was all Indian stuff, and I'm like, yo, there's too much interconnectivity with this shit.
They're demons, bro.
Some people would argue that.
You see, like,
some people would argue that. If you look, I listen, I read a lot of Reddit. I read everything because I'm interested in these topics. When I dig into it, that's the argument. Is either like they are gods or they are demons or there's some combination of both.
What's the Egyptian one? Horus, I believe, with the falcon head.
Yeah.
I know people that have eaten decent amount of mushrooms and they're like, yo, that's who I saw, or like, what, you know, so.
The Vishnu, or the Indian god with the arms.
Yeah.
Well, that's
that one.
So
the blue one.
I originally encountered that, but I didn't see. The weird part of the experience was I didn't see it for what it was until you become telepathic with whatever the entity is, because in that realm they all become telepathic. There's no talking, there's no sound, there's no nothing. It's just like, now you know, and you just know.
Yeah.
And in that moment, it was just like, bam, you know who I am now, and I'm like, oh, and then you could see them for who they like are depicted as, and you're like, you were just like this like blue energy, and now you're like exactly what I've like. I don't even remember seeing this like in a textbook or some shit. And it was like, bam, like in my head, like, oh, that's like some Hindu god or something. Like I knew, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's what is most interesting about that stuff.
Well, some people would also argue that's like an archetype and it's like implanted in people's heads. And that's hard to believe for me. On the physical, listen, philosophy is a weird thing. Some people who dig deep into it, that's what they would argue. But my argument against them would be like, no, this is when you're on a telepathic wave of communication, whatever that is in that situation, there is no debating. There's no loss in translation. It was, I was blank slate, and now, bam, I instantly knew.
Yeah.
There's no debating that for an experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, you can't give me the archetype shit because, like, I have zero connection to any of that shit, even if I saw it and it was implanted in some back of my mind subconscious, even if it was, right? Yeah. I wouldn't have able to had that whatever that is. Yeah. The knowing that was alive and knowing it's communicating with me and knowing it, that you can't prove that in archetypes. You know what I'm saying?
No. There's a lot of shit you can't prove in archetypes, bro.
Well, of course. But it's
That's
interesting
because there's other realities. There's other,
dimensions. I think
and
most
other
people
entities that are in other dimensions that you can connect with.
Exactly.
Doing magic, doing drugs.
Oh, that's
doing
probably
DMT.
true. Magic is probably a part of it too. Magic
This is why Islam is very clear about it. There's a whole chapter about jinns. Jinns are very real. God says that jinns were created before humans, and they were sent down to earth, and they still live, and they live long. And at once, sometime in history, they were physical, and they weren't just metaphysical. We came after.
The thing is, most people who argue with them. Can I tell you something now? And then let me tell you something. Most people who would argue against these concepts that we're even able to discuss here are people who would argue the science. Am I right? That would be one of their biggest arguments, was the science, right? And if you look into the science, all of the biggest things right now, when you look into string theory and all the deepest levels of science you could go, they all point to what? Different dimensions.
Yeah.
Science proves there's God. Logic proves that there's a creator.
And when you start...
That's just logic.
And here's the thing about psychedelics that I will say. When you use them as spiritual tools and not party drugs, which is what they're intended for, right?
They're not
you learn people, and this is well documented in that sphere, is that when you're in these states of consciousness, there's no debating that you can feel you're not in the same dimension. You know it. You're seeing things from a new perspective that you couldn't see in this dimension. You could see so many layers of 3D. 3D is nothing. I'm talking 12D.
Yep. Yeah, the geometric patterns, the fractals.
You can't explain those things in 3D.
No.
So if you then
We can't
Case,
even explain
no. So
quantum
case
physics in
closed.
3D.
Because people have all seen it. Case closed.
Bro, we can even stuff we can see.
Even
in
if the different
quantum
dimension
physics,
is
you
in your
can't
fucking
prove.
brain, guess what? There's a different dimension in your fucking brain. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Period. However you want to explain it, science
Well, the
boy.
brain is like a receiver, so it's just
Bill
different
Nye, the
channels,
science guy,
right?
whatever. I'm trying to explain
That
it.
guy has
It's like
no science
changing the
degree.
channel on a television.
He's a clown. He has no science degree.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just
Bill
tell
Nye
you,
the
like,
Shield guy.
basically,
Yo,
yeah.
my artist who does my art, his mom lives like a few houses down from Bill Nye, the science guy.
Oh,
The guy's a
my
clown.
God.
Yeah, he's a clown.
Him and
Oh, he was
Neil
fun
deGrasse-
when we were kids,
Neil
though. He was
deGrasse
fun
Tyson.
when we were kids. He was fun to watch, though. He was like Mr. Rogers, but for science.
He's like Obama of science, guys. He just talks like he's a good talker.
Yeah,
The Neil deGrasse guy.
yeah.
Neil deGrasse, the
Jeez.
ass, or Neil deGrasse Tyson is a joke.
I have to tell
I've
you.
seen that guy.
They have agendas. They have
You like 'em?
liberal
No.
agendas.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I just know so many people who
They
do
use
like him, and
science
I don't
for-
get it. Not for me.
He's a clown. That guy
He
is
seems
such
like a Bozo
shill.
McGillicuddy Jr.
He
to
is
me.
just,
Yeah, he's
Ah.
he's too cocky.
he's
too.
way too cocky.
Well, he acts like he know this. He's like
He
one of
knows
those
everything, right?
evolutionists who just, I know, and it's like, no, you don't fucking know.
Bro, there's a
He
whole
knows-
video of
he
him
knows
annoying the
that what
shit
He
out of
acts
Joe
like he
Rogan.
knows, but he doesn't actually know.
There's a whole video.
Imagine
of him.
knowing nothing. You know the greatest size. If you want to come debate us, dude, us three will sit down with you. We'll debate, dude.
Oh, you don't stand a chance.
Yeah,
but
dude.
Neil deGrasse.
We'll break your little fucking.
I'll make him shit his pants if he was in front of me, bro.
Yeah, dude, you'll be
you
shitting
can't
the
argue
pancakes.
The
with
big one for me for science
Can't argue.
and back to like the heliocentric model, the whole idea that space is a vacuum and Earth is a atmospheric.
Space is not a vacuum. I'll tell you that.
But according
They have proof
to
of
their
that.
science, right? They'll say it's not a perfect vacuum, but it's near perfect vacuum because of the amount of space.
So
and
it's
the
like a Dyson.
It's actually. I would argue the word space itself was consciously put in there to deceive people into thinking that it's emptiness. In fact, they know that it's more like it acts more like a sea. And in the Quran, it even explains it that way either. I don't want to just keep associating it to the Quran.
Well, you're
But
the
it's very
Quran.
No,
Bro,
no.
I'm a Quran guy, apparently.
No. But we need that perspective because we don't have that perspective. We
I
need
got
that.
you. I got you.
That's
So,
what you're here for, bro.
Hell
Because
yeah.
this is what it's about.
Salam alaikum, Eid Mubarak. by
No,
the
because
way.
we gotta learn.
Yeah, bro.
That's what it's about. Imagine knowing nothing. None of us know about this.
Of course, we all benefit from each other's perspective.
That's how it
what's-
works.
Yeah, this is science right here. This is the debate.
This is actual science.
These
yes.
motherfuckers, they call themselves
By the way,
scientists.
if you heard that, the episode just started.
They don't even want to debate people, bro. But yeah, they say space acts more like a sea. It's
Like
more
a
like
seat?
but it's not like a sea, but like a sea that has a floor and has a gravity itself. It's its own thing. But
Well,
it's
as
definitely-
above, so below. So
we
if
still
there's
don't
waters above and
understand it.
below,
Yeah, it's just not something I can definitely explain. Like I know it. It's
you know what
just-
I wonder?
it's
Like,
definitely not
what's in
empty,
the
bro.
waters above? Is there like sperm whales, like just
Explain this.
chilling? Like, is it crabs? Like, or is it like different animals in the waters above?
It's stardust.
Or do you think that's a different dimension? I don't
It
know.
is. Well, the thing is, bro, if it was empty,
Maybe it's the waters of the next dimension.
if it was empty,
I don't know. I couldn't. I don't know.
If space was empty, in fact, was empty, you think it would be like so hard for spaceships to go through that shit? It would be so easy.
Can I ask you another thing? What if the devil worship shit is the as above, so below? Why is also the firmament?
We also have a firmament within the Earth's crust. We're only
No,
on
but
the
I'm
top
saying,
of it.
isn't that a weird coincidence?
It's
That
not a
like
coincidence.
no, that the as above, so below thing.
Yeah.
That's
Well-
what they say about the firmament, but that is also what they. That's like whatever. One
I
of the sayings of the
also-
satanic shit.
In terms of space, it's like it's outer space. It's not called upper space. It's
That's true.
outer space.
That's true.
Was one and
Outside of the firmament,
extraterrestrial, extra
land.
terra land,
Yeah.
right? Like there's a couple things for me where I'm like, knowing what I know.
Well, some
about word
people in
magic,
the non-heliocentric model would argue, right, that instead of outer space, just like planets outside of the ice wall, there's more land. That's extra. What's
there's
extraterrestrial?
too many maps. Whether that's in a psyop in itself, and there's just these old maps for whatever reason that show lands. There's too many maps that actually show, yes, there's lands beyond this area that would be considered Antarctica. Like they're out there.
I'm skeptical about the maps too, bro. Even the maps that we have right now that they're teaching kids in history, like geography classes and shit, they make certain countries look bigger than others.
Oh, big time.
They make like Iceland look like it's fucking the size of Africa
Yep.
and shit. Like it's all
all
And it
pictures
will
is
say
accurate.
in tiny little fucking letters at the bottom that no one ever reads.
Not
Like
to scale,
certain,
but
like
like-
certain things are not to scale.
like how much off the scale we talking here?
Well,
Like, bro,
what interests me with the old
it's
map stuff for
fucking-
me personally is when you start to dig into old maps, like real actual explorers who are mapping it out by motherfucking hand the old school way.
Bro, I
It's
got a
not
really
like what
interesting
they
map
show
for
you now.
I got the map for you, bro. The Puri race map.
The what?
The Puri race.
Can you pull it up, Angelo? The what?
Puri race, PIRI space REIS map. This
I don't know
map
what happened
shows
to
the
that.
island of the Antichrist. This map shows Antarctica being lush and green. This is
What
the
about
map Hancock
Atlantis? Is
talking
Atlantis
about.
on it?
This is a Turkish admiral. This guy was an explorer, and
Is Atlantis on
he
it?
was famous. Atlantis is not on it, but there's the island of the red spot, bro. That's literally the island of the Antichrist.
What, in the middle, that red circle?
Yeah.
There's two of them, though. Oh, that one.
No, maybe the other one. There's a big one. I think it's a little bigger than that. So there's only some parts of it are still missing. There's only
Click that one all the way to the right, Angela. Wait, go back to the last picture. Go back to the last picture, and then click all the way to the right.
yeah, that's the one, man. I think it has the Antichrist.
No, you see on the right? Yeah, exactly.
It has like a devil sign on it, bro. Shit is creepy.
I don't know. That map ain't doing nothing because there's
I
no
gotta-
shapes of any fucking content you
Nah,
can see.
I got it.
Well, how about just like Iceland being green, Greenland being ice?
Yeah, that's
it's all
weird
for
too.
confusion. The more confused you are, the easier you are to be mind controlled. It's part of the indoctrination. So like we're talking about old ancient maps, and it's like I don't even believe that the globe that's in every classroom for a reason.
Well, here's the
is
thing: is some
representing
of the
what we live
old,
on.
some of the old maps are very accurate to what they show us today, right? But there'll be like major differences, and usually they're in the areas where we're fucking talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? That's where the discrepancies are. Is like where they don't want you to know about.
Yeah.
That's the weird part. I don't know. For me, we've talked about it before, but when I found out that like they literally don't even let boats go within like hundreds of miles of Antarctica, you're not even around anywhere fucking
They'll
remotely
be like,
near
turn
it.
around, buddy.
Yeah, the Coast Guard is immediately like on. You could be in a rowboat. They don't give a fuck.
You would get accosted faster. On 9/11, apparently, no fighter jets could make it in time, right? Which is a joke, right? So they were also running simulations that day. People.
bro, how crazy is it?
But
like,
they'll get you real quick if you're going to
Alex
Antarctica.
Jones literally on July 25th, he made a podcast on his show on Infowars talking about how 9/11 is gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
He
Who?
didn't say 9/11.
Yeah.
Alex Jones.
First off,
And,
Alex Jones is called. He's the most scrutinized guy in all of information media,
He's the man.
and he's also the most accurate
Yeah.
of all time. Do you know when he really fucking got? Listen, I've been on.
He's
I've been
accurate like
on
99.9% of the time.
Here's the thing is, I've been on Team Jones and off Team Jones countless times since I found out about him. When I first found out about him, I loved him. Then I was like, nah, this guy's a kook. Then I liked him again. Then he's a kook. At the end of the day, he hurts himself by some of his antics. But let me tell you something when he really won me over. When he started talking about the gay frogs, did you see those clips about him talking about the gay frogs?
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I was like,
Some of the best
okay,
memes.
I got to be honest. This guy lost his mind. That's it. He's gone. Like,
That's real.
there'll never be a good Alex Jones again. He lost his mind.
that shit is real, bro.
No.
Meanwhile,
The science
Kennedy-
literally just came out.
atrazine, yeah.
Atrazine literally makes
it
frogs gay. They don't
Literally.
even just make them gay. They turn them into
Yeah.
biological females.
It's in
With
our
fertile
drinking
eggs.
water, bro.
First off,
Yeah.
it's in many people's drinking water all over the country.
fucking
They
crazy.
put it in
Only
it,
filtered or bottled water.
admittedly, and it literally makes frogs. They start having eggs as males.
Yes.
They start producing eggs like
Yep,
females,
yep.
but they're men. They're men frogs.
Not only that,
And-
then
and
they
they're man
twist it and
frogs,
use
but
that
with
shit
ovaries.
to push their gay agendas. Like they use like the frogs as an example. Like, oh, look, frogs.
No,
can-
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah, frog can
but
be gay. And
can I
frog
just tell you
can turn
something?
No,
into
they
a
say
woman.
frogs could change their genders.
Yeah,
But when they
But
threw
they don't
him
put
under
in
the
fact
they
that
sure
they're
can.
being put on atrazine.
Yeah,
bro.
but when they
That's the
throw
fuck-
him
they're
under the
twisted.
bus for that, And we all laugh, including myself, at the guy for it. And then he's fucking right again. Now I have to really stop questioning this guy.
Bro,
I have to really stop questioning
Epstein.
him.
He was right about
He was right about so many things at this point.
He was right about COVID.
And nobody gives him his flowers. We got to give this guy his flowers while he's still alive.
He's right about Hollywood people.
He gets torn up about.
Shout out my guy Hollywood people.
I don't want to say the words, right? But the school shooting that he's had the lawsuit about. Dude, I've seen a documentary that.
Yeah.
Listen, this one's tough to talk
see
about.
Wolfgang?
This one's tough to talk about.
I'm not going to go there, but let's just say that
the fact that there's same crisis actors in
that's the
multiple
one he got in
crises.
trouble for. Let's just leave it there.
How about back to
factual.
his 9/11?
David Hoggins, the guy's name is David Hoggins. He was in Boston Marathon shooting. He was at the elementary school shooting. How do you have the same like?
There's a lot of online, maybe not fully credible, but questionable at the least evidence that I've seen of these like paid actor types that seem to be showing up at different places.
Yeah.
David Hoggins.
Hogue, the fucking
Yeah. Hey,
the idiot.
Hey,
the idiot.
Hey.
The bozo.
Yeah, the bozo.
Yeah.
He basically, his dad worked for the FBI. He ends up at the Florida shooting, and now he's the guy that's all over the place for gun control. It's like, dude.
Bro.
And
there's also that chick too, who's also somewhat
but
involved
there's
with
multiple interviews of him talking about my sister lost 3 of her best friends. Then the other day, my sister lost 2 of her best friends. It's like, bro.
How many sisters? How many friends? Do you
And
your
it's like
sister
the
got?
day of the shooting, and you're straight face. Like, just it's come on. How about the guy on CNN?
Don't tread on me, buddy.
The father who's laughing, and then he's like gets in character and comes up. I mean, there's so many examples of the crisis actors. That's just absurd.
They're
I wanted to
actors.
mention real quick because you said about Alex Jones. How about Bill Cooper? In I think June before 9/11, said whatever they blame on Osama bin Laden, don't you believe it? And then he gets killed in October.
Well, here are some facts about Osama bin Laden. He worked for CIA. His name was Tim Osman. He went to Oxford.
Facts.
His buddies on the flight were trained over here in Florida in a fucking flight school. They never passed the flight school. 2 passports miraculously got survived on the 9/11 wreck, but you still can't investigate the metal beams. I could go on all day, bro.
How much time you got, buddy?
9/11
The
actually
building came down, even though no damage was done to it. There's a video of Pentagon getting hit by a Scud missile, not a fucking plane. There's no there's no parts of a plane found at Pentagon. Bro, the whole thing is
The whole
a
thing's
fucking
wild.
psyop.
And at this point,
There's a whole documentary about loose change. Fucking start
Change
there.
is a good
Loose
one.
Here's the
Change
thing:
Part 2, and
if
then
it's
so
on the
and so forth.
news, it's a psyop.
Bro, I have a guy. He's a customer
It's a
of mine.
simple rule. If you follow this rule, you'll
I have
never
a-
get tricked.
I have a
If
friend.
it's on the news, it's a psyop.
Of course it is. It's programming. It's
Yeah,
called
big time.
television. It's called broadcasting.
yep.
Casting a spell
First
on
off,
a broad
broad,
level.
because
Yep.
a lot of broads watch this
The whole
stuff.
English language is witchcraft, bro.
Indeed.
And I get heat for saying this, I have something against the English language. I fucking use it all day. But even the word, like every when you wake up, you say good morning. The word
Nothing-
morning is negative. It's a negative
nothing
energy.
good about it. I
Words
tell
have
people that-
power, bro. This is why we pray to God, because God listens, and nothing you say goes to shit. Every word like you say every day without knowing, there's a spell to it. There's a spell to
I
it.
agree with
Think
that.
about it. The word spell itself.
Well, they
What are you
try.
spelling?
They try to program
Indeed.
the things that you're saying to be things that may not be working for you.
That's why 9/11.
Because some of these, there is something about energy, and when you're saying anything, you're
Well,
putting energy into saying that.
put it out into existence.
But word magic wise, I love what you're saying because I agree with that. And there's a reason they want English to be the universal language. Like I always used to
course.
think about growing up, I'm like, why is English the one that they want everyone speaking? And I got a
It's
little
the most
older, learned about
corrupted.
word magic and whatnot. So in terms of energy, money is just an exchange of energy, if you will. But think of the amount of word magic associated with electricity and money. So I'm going to charge you. There's charge there, right? The currency.
Spend.
A current, the bank of a river, the bank. It's insane how much is actually built into.
Why do you work weekdays and you have days off on
Yep,
weekend?
Yep.
Like weekdays.
Yep. And the
You know,
good morning
days
one, I
that-
tell people all the time, I don't
Oh,
say
there's
good morning
so
anymore.
much, bro.
There's nothing good about morning.
Whatever.
That's
you try-
where the magic comes into play. We get taught that 2 words are different because they're spelled different. But when we speak words,
You're
they
still
have
saying the
vibrational
same thing.
energy.
Exactly.
And that's all that matters.
So the letters really don't matter. The sound you make matters because.
So can I ask you a
energy,
question? Do you
everything
think
is a
all these
frequency.
words that like people used to say back in the day that they didn't get canceled
There's
for?
studies.
No, hold on.
Yes.
Do you think these things that people say that are canceled, like words that you're not supposed, bad words, no words that you're not allowed to say anymore?
I would
Do
argue.
you think that they're a high vibrational thing
I would
that they're
argue.
trying to stop us from saying? Like it feels good to say some of these words.
It feels
You know what I'm
amazing.
saying?
does.
Sometimes it feels good to say a bad word, and that's why they don't want you to do it because it makes you feel good.
I would argue they want you to do it by telling you they're kind of canceling some words, but they're actually putting out more evil words on music every day.
Of
on
course. Well,
purpose.
we all know that any mainstream music is rooted in something that's controlled by people who are very evil.
Mainstream music is beyond satanic at this point.
You know, it's very
It's-
evil.
it's not
it's
even-
very noticeably
what
in
it
your
is?
face. They're not trying to hide it. They want you to know.
Do you know how it is?
They're
though?
proud of it because they think you're gonna like it, and people do.
Do you know why it does? Do you know
Why?
like, how it works? It's because you're made of three-quarters of your body is water, and water moves with frequency.
Of
So
course.
every rhythm, every beat, every word they say, it moves your body. That's why when you hear a hip song or something popping, you want to move. Like
Move your body.
That's
especially if
also-
you're drunk.
Come
and it's,
together.
That's
whatever
why
the
They
they
fuck
have
lyrics are.
studies. They have actual studies where they put two plants and they say nice things to one plant and they say all the fucked up things to the other plant. The plant that they say nice things to, it flourishes and
Yep.
blooms, and the other one dies.
There was
Literally,
a
I've
Japanese.
seen a lot.
guys.
Listen, the energy you put in, it's very well documented that like the more energy that you put into living things, including plants, the better energy and product you're gonna get.
What
out
That's
of it.
why I say nice things, and I also try to cut down on swearing because it doesn't help you because everything is water. So
You think swearing
Everything
is
is free.
negative in itself?
of course it is, and I get
Yeah, but it
into
feels so good to just be like, fuck.
It feels amazing, and I just, I do it a lot more than I like to admit, but try not to, bro, because it doesn't help.
In
Doesn't
terms
help.
of water, there,
I
do
hear
you
you.
know
I think
about
you're probably right.
the Japanese scientist who studied
Yes.
the freezing of water, right? And then the
Did you
crystal
hear
struck-
about the Japanese scientist that studied the Zamzam water, the holy water that comes out of Mecca, which happens to be the purest water of all waters?
Wait, they studied the water that came out of Mecca?
Yeah, it's an unlimited source of water that comes out of Mecca.
Where does it come from?
It comes from underneath Kaaba, the cube.
Yeah.
It comes from underneath it. And there's
Where does it go,
It's
though?
literally in the middle of the desert, and it's God's miracle that it just comes out without a source. It's just
Endless.
endless.
But where does it go?
Underground. It just comes
Oh,
from
okay.
underground, but there's no source. So there's no bet.
So it's under there, but it's not tapped.
It's only one spot, and it's untapped. There's no limit to it, and it's been coming out for years and years, and it's the purest water of all water.
and they tested it.
Of course, they test.
And
There's
it's-
studies. There's countless studies. You can YouTube the shit out of it.
Really? That's
Anybody-
interesting.
I tell anybody to research Zamzam water. It's called Zem water. ZAM.
Whatever satanic piece of shit
There's
who gets the
books-
rights to that water
Dude,
is gonna
there's-
fucking make Fiji
Bro,
look like
there's
a
more
joke.
books written about this water than most things. Like, there's so much written about this water than a lot of movies. Like,
That's crazy. I never even heard of it.
yeah, there's so much studies about it. Wow.
How about with the water too? And you were saying with the music, they shifted the
They did. They changed
the
the,
harmonic
frequency
that it's
No,
tuned
so-
to or something.
No, so
I
they
forget what.
the frequency that they play music has to go through that frequency, which is a vibration.
Yeah.
They changed what it was to like one that's like
Yeah, it used
Yeah,
to be
it's now dissonant. They shifted it.
432
they shifted it to
megahertz.
one that's not. It's like a noticeable. People say when they do like the difference, they've done like weird tests and shit, and it's
Yes.
like way more negative.
And it's called somatics, I believe. But if
It
you
also
put,
makes you more easily.
Aggravated.
yeah,
No, not aggravated.
no,
programmable.
but
Programmable.
because
Yes.
it's
Also, controlling.
Yes, it makes you more controllable.
They control you into being angry.
Yeah, true.
Mostly, like most
True.
of the music these days, killing, fucking.
Yeah, like
It's
I gotta
like-
be honest, and the crazy thing is like he's not gonna like this because I know he likes this type of music, but that's why I never understood like the real hardcore shit because I'm like this is just like
Bro, also notice how like older.
so it's too
no,
too
I've
negative and angry.
grown. I shouldn't say I've like grown out of it, but
You don't look at it in the same
I
light.
don't look at it the same way, and I do kind of now have a different perspective where I'm like,
But so many people love that
There's
type
energy.
of shit, and it's like, yo, they probably like that shit though because they're so.
I got
fucking
into
negative.
it because I was like an athlete and a drummer, and so I
high
needed
energy.
to, yeah, and like that style of drumming, you can't have somebody like singing,
I get it.
country music too, and a nice soft guitar. If I'm sitting there trying to rip on my double bass and slam on my drums. So I got sucked into it more from like a drumming perspective. But now I don't really listen to that style of music too much anymore, to be honest.
All right, that
just
makes
because
sense.
it's like,
because for me,
I don't have
can't.
that connection as I'm not
Me
playing
either.
the drums as much. But I do. I now think about it, like everything has energy. Everything is there for a reason. And all the talk
No, that's
about
why. That's
the
why we're
satanic
listening to
background.
only the Boys Trip playlist all summer long. The link will be in the fucking bio, dude. Boys Trip, the Boys Trip playlist. It's just positive vibes only all summer.
It's the same reason why you should literally not be listening to anything that comes through a major radio station right now.
Well,
the
especially new
advertisements,
music, 'cause,
the music,
yeah.
the anchors, just shut off a radio.
Well,
if it's
you
an
know
FM
what? You know what
station.
kills me is when I see these young kids like obsessing over like Ice Spice.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying? That's like depressing. It's like because like they're all idolizing this like.
You're idolizing
Someone who sold her soul to the devil.
Correct.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
If you're in this position that she is.
Can
And
I
is
tell
it
you
what-
something else? And the Swifties are going to come at me in the comments, but I'm going to put it on paper. Taylor Swift is the most satanic out of all of them.
Bro,
They're all-
she's,
yeah, all
she's a
100%.
witch.
No, because she's
a witch.
She's
a literal
but
witch.
she's the worst of them because she tries to be this like, oh, I'm like so cute and lovable, and all the kids love me, and all the girls love me. But she's the most evil of them all, and
Mommy
they're all
bring-
fucking mind controlled by
Bro,
this
that's
fucking
how they do it. They
demon.
did it
Dead
with
ass.
Miley Cyrus. Used to be the cutest Hannah Montana on Disney. This and
Miley
that, and then
Cyrus,
overnight, she turned into a
ever
fucking
heard her
prostitute.
voice in real life,
That just sounds like a dude.
Yo, you've
I
seen
don't know
those
what I
video
do.
memes, right?
I don't know
Everybody-
what I
But
do.
you see, like even Britney Spears, bro, used to be this cute little Disney star, and then everybody idolized all the little teenage girls.
Well,
They grow up idolizing
this
it.
ties into more current events. Have you
And
guys
then-
seen this new show on HBO called Idol? The Idol.
Oh, I heard about that.
So it's
shit.
got The Weeknd in it, who's a satanic motherfucker, and it's
course.
got
Big time.
Johnny Depp's daughter in it, who's definitely a satanic motherfucker, and she's just naked the whole time. He's like fucking choke fucking her. It's like all stuff that you don't want young kids to see, and it's like obviously the biggest show amongst teens.
Bro, there's a new one coming out that they're starting to film for Disney Plus where a teenager gets impregnated by the devil in a one-night stand. It's like Disney?
A succubus.
I forget what it's called.
Disney been
I
satanic.
fucking
may have
succubus.
screenshotted it.
Walt Disney himself is one of the. He's a 33rd degree Mason. He liked to get shit on.
First off, they built that shit on
like-
swamps. What do you think are under those swamps, dude?
I got a great Disney
All
video.
right, Disney's
Yeah.
built on swamps.
With the
do you think-
CIA
You know how many
help.
fucking dead bodies are in those
Why do you
swamps,
think
dude?
they made the movie Frozen?
Because they're all frozen in the swamps.
Let me see.
Walt Disney himself got himself frozen.
Oh yeah, his brain is frozen in a fucking
Literally.
ball, 100%.
No, his whole body.
He's cryogenically frozen, 100%. They probably already thawed him out. He's all thawed out already. He's walking around somewhere.
Yeah.
He's on Epstein Island right
He's
now.
in another body.
He's on Epstein Island.
There's other Epstein Islands, bro.
Oh,
There's
of
other
course.
islands.
You know how many islands there are?
There's so many, bro.
Bro, Japan just discovered. First of all,
7,000
yeah,
islands.
you know, while we're here, did you know that Japan fucking they just discovered 7,000 fucking islands?
How does that
Wow.
happen? Oh, we missed that part of the world. I
Yo,
guess.
clip it, Angelo. Clip it again. Double clip that one. We're double clipping that one.
Yo, that one's almost got 1 million views,
Got
right?
1 million views, dude.
did, nice.
Yeah, dude.
Awesome.
It's about, is it 1 million yet?
It was close when I
Is
saw
it? Is it 1 million? See
Out
if
of-
it,
out of
we might
every-
have to chug the rest of this beer, man. 1 million.
Out of everything we talk
960.
about,
Yo, run that
that shit
up. You
goes
guys got to
viral.
run
I know,
that
right?
up. We got to hit
fucking
this Emmy.
islands go viral, bro. Out of a million things we talk about.
We talk about the craziest shit, and like the most obscure, irrelevant news clip
I'ma
is the
change
one that went viral.
topic. AI. Change the topic.
Skynet's here, dude. Skynet
It's
is
here,
here.
bro.
We're living in
AI
Skynet.
is- I want nothing to do with it.
Well, it's already
going in
There's
the
nothing you
opposite
can
direction.
do about it. It's,
it's
gonna take
already
over.
here.
Yeah.
Skynet's in place.
But I'm saying, like, in terms of people doing with the chips and implant, and if I'm paralyzed now, I can walk in. It's like, bro, I want nothing to do
That's
with
the
it.
Can I tell you
tip
something?
of the iceberg. They want to make you warm up to it, but eventually it's gonna take your job. It's gonna take your
When
wife.
they-
it's
when-
It will
gonna
take your soul.
kids. It's gonna take your soul and put you into the metaverse that Islam
Yeah.
warns you about. It's Islam, in Islam, it tells you the devil is gonna give you a fake reality on earth. That's the fucking metaverse, bro. That's
Indeed.
the open world, that digital open world where you put on the fucking.
I'm not
Vision
gonna lie
Pro.
though. I've been playing regular VR video games, and the shit is pretty fire.
It's a game,
It's
but like,
fun.
I'm sure it
see,
is.
like this is the thing, bro. Here's where it gets tricky.
I'm
so
playing
we're the
Gran Turismo. I'm
generation-
like,
we're the generation where we
Bro,
didn't
it
have
feels
this
like you're going
technology.
200. It's crazy.
Yeah, you feel it.
Yo, because you're fucking, the shit's rushing
Yeah.
by you. You're like, what the fuck?
So here's what it is, bro. Here's the tricky part. So like we grew up into not having this technology, and
Correct.
we played outside in the streets, so we can differentiate. We can use that for entertainment and turn that shit off. Go back to our regular fucking meaningful lives.
The younger
What about
generation
the fucking
can't.
kids that grow up
No,
into
you're
this
right.
shit.
Yeah.
You know what, Al, we've talked about this on the pod. You could go back and listen to me say it, and I'm going to just repeat it because it's true. We're the generation that still came home because the fucking streetlights went on,
Exactly.
but also by the time we were like in high school, like had a cell phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we saw both. We're the only generation that's going to see both sides of the fence.
Bro, I see this shit with my nephews. I got 3 nephews now. So it's almost like a fucking experiment. My sister's kid never touches an iPad. They don't have a TV at home. My sister's
Awesome.
son don't have
I was
a
going
TV
to
at
say,
home.
now you're talking my boy's alley. This is
And
his
then,
alley
yeah,
right
my
here.
brother
That's
has
awesome.
2 boys, and those kids are on the phone. They're
The
on
iPad
they're
all
in
day.
front of the big 70-inch TV all day. And if you try to take their phone, they cry.
Yeah.
So how do you
They're
how do you
addicted. They're
save
literally
Oh, they
your
are
kid?
addicted, yeah.
How are you gonna save your kid from technology when your reality is not
Here's
better
the
than
problem.
that?
Here's the problem.
can't.
You can't.
No, but
You
you
can't.
can't save him. And can I
There's
just
no
tell you
way-
something?
The answer is clear now. It's over.
It's
Like,
over.
The people that
Because it's
think that
inevitable.
they can-
You could try to
there's
save him
nothing
all
you
you
can do
want,
about it.
but eventually,
There's one thing you
one
can
way
do
or
about it.
another, no matter, like even with them, with his kid, he could do it for as long as he wants, but at some point he's going to be able to make his own decision,
So
and it's
there's
going to go
hope.
one way or the other.
He's
There's
going to
hope.
have to at some point, right? Get involved.
Well,
But
first off, he's
I'm
going to
not
have to have a
gonna-
phone.
There's
You can't
hope.
live today without a phone.
There's
We're
hope.
living in a new world. You can't. You literally
You can't.
can't.
Yeah.
Bro, there's hope through God.
But how is he going
I'll
to,
tell
unless
you
he
how.
replaces the phone?
I tell you how.
Tell me how.
You take your fucking kid, you educate your kid about God and the devil. The schools are not going to do this shit. The
Nobody's
schools are
going.
brainwashing
No.
kids now, telling the kids they can cut their dicks off and pretend they're cats and dogs.
Sheesh. For
and
real, though.
Pride Month and this and
Bro,
that.
listen,
real,
my
bro.
girl's
Pushing
kid
this
literally
shit.
says
So
there's a
you
kid
take
who
your
says
fucking
she's
kid-
like a cat or something.
You straighten your kid out and you teach them about God. You teach them about the devil. Obviously in better ways than I'm telling you right now. Don't yell at them. Don't scream at them. But teach them, educate them, because no one else is gonna educate your kid but you.
Yeah,
Teach
that's a
the kids
fact.
about real values, old-fashioned values. Teach them about family. Show them love. Through love, there's hope. Like this is
Well,
sounds corny. This sounds
No,
corny.
it doesn't.
but
It
this
really
is the
doesn't,
only way,
though.
bro.
It really doesn't,
This
though,
is
because
where
here's the
faith
thing. That's
comes
old
into
school.
play.
That's old school
How do you beat
culture
the
of
devil?
most good cultures.
How do you beat the devil? Through God. This is bottom line. This is the solution. So where people like act like there's no hope, and I feel like there's no hope sometimes, but there's always hope. So this is the only solution.
And I agree with that in terms of I became more God-centered and spiritual when I saw how bad these motherfuckers worship Satan
Correct.
and how satanic it is and evil.
'Cause who's
it's
on the other side?
So they're not worshiping this thing called Satan
For
if
no
there's no
reason.
God, and hating God's creation and hating everything about God's creation. They're
Exactly.
like quite literally hating it all and trying to change it and mock it. So right there, if you're almost deep enough in the rabbit holes, you gotta like you can't be an atheist and be a
Exactly,
truther
bro.
in this world because like
Whether you
you're not
believe
doing
in
the right
God or
work
not,
then.
they believe in the devil enough to come after your kids.
Yeah, literally.
So even if you're an atheist, Jew, Muslim, Christian, don't matter, bro. They're coming for your kids because they believe in the devil and they're gonna make your kids satanic. If
Well,
you
we've
don't
talked
act
about
on
it before. There's a lot
There's
of
a
weird
reason they come for the
symboli-
kids.
They're
Yeah,
coming for kids
there
because
is.
kids are pure energy. They're innocent.
Exactly.
They're vulnerable, and they
They're
have
closer
they have
to
an empty
source.
slate.
Right?
Yeah,
If you
they're-
think about
They
Yeah.
also use kids for all the fucked up reasons. They use it for sacrifice. This shit been going on since the beginning of time, bro. They
Moloch.
sacrifice children. Moloch.
Moloch, yep.
They sacrifice
Bull.
children. This is the ugly side of the satanic shit. They sacrifice children. They make drugs out of them.
Yeah,
All
the
adrenochrome.
adrenochrome is
Adrenochrome is real.
that's-
All the Hollywood
that's-
motherfuckers are on it. That's why
That's
they
the
stay young. They
conspiracy
think they
theory. Is
stay
that
young.
what it's all for?
It's not even a
If-
conspiracy theory. It's a fact now.
Yeah.
It's been proven. That's an actual drug, bro. That shit is
No,
real.
it
It's
is
a
an
fucking
actual
pill.
drug, but it isn't proven that they're sacrificing children to do it.
Epstein Island is the tip of the iceberg. The human
Well-
trafficking at the border. Let's get into it.
Mm.
Immigration. What do you think immigration officer is doing? Trafficking humans.
Well, not for nothing.
CPS.
Well,
What do you
there,
think
there
about
was
the
that
Mexican
video.
border?
There was that video of John McAfee from the security online security guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, hiding
not-
John
somewhere.
McAfee, they killed him because he told.
Well, no,
everybody,
there's an interview with him on the fucking internet where he's like I bugged all the computers. Like the top level
Yes.
immigration officers doing this, the top level doing one is doing that. He goes, I have it all documented.
exactly.
Bro, the head of the
But that's
Amber
why they
Alert
killed him.
system was
They
linked
act-
to the Clintons, and it's like, dude, CPS is a joke. What they put in place, they're doing the opposite of what, if it's for protection, or they're always doing the opposite. So CPS, the foster care system, all these things are child trafficking, like rings.
Bro.
That's all it is. It's crazy.
I just gotta tell you about John McAfee. Even though that's right, he did expose all the sex trafficking. The reason they killed him, believe it or not, bro, they're actually proud of trafficking children. These motherfuckers are sick. They're proud of that shit. They killed John McAfee because John McAfee was creating a currency called Monero, which was actually decentralized. It wasn't like some fucking Bitcoin shit. So before he actually released Monero,
I got Monero for the record.
Do you really?
I own Monero.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
they
Absolutely.
fucking whacked him.
You see what I'm talking about?
You know,
What-
John McAfee had a tattoo that says "not whack." Like,
Yep.
I would not. He said in interviews, multiple interviews, that he will never kill himself. Kind of like Andrew
yeah,
Tate
they-
Oh, no.
is saying right now.
Well,
And then they
well, you know,
Epstein
the
him.
New York Times just came out and confirmed that Jeffrey Epstein it was a suicide. So it's for real.
Oh, if New York Times
No,
said
it's for real, guys.
All right, yeah.
All right, the New York Times said it.
If New York Times said it, it must be
Nah, dude.
true.
The Times.
It must be true.
It's the Times.
Imagine still reading a newspaper in
Imagine
2023
nothing.
and believing any word you read in there. Just imagine still doing that.
I
How
don't know,
are these
dude.
things even?
That shit is an insult to all the open thinking people, bro. People need to wake the fuck up, man. Realistically, like,
So conspiracies? Did you see Mark Zuckerberg recently? Probably gonna make a video about this one because it's too easy. Talking about, oh well,
Doing jiu-jitsu
We
against
were-
Elon Musk?
we were asked.
Because that's,
yeah, no,
I heard they're going to fight, dude. I'm ready. I'm here for it.
I was asked to censor some things that turned out to be more true, and he's like basically
yeah.
admits that he was asked to censor information that then turned out to be
course.
true.
Oh no, Elon Musk.
And no one backs an eye.
Elon Musk was also quoted as saying every single conspiracy that people had about Twitter and the government is not only true but way
It's
worse
worse.
than they thought. He
Yeah.
quoted that.
I think the only conspiracy is this idea that conspiracies are this thing that people just make up out of thin air for no reason just to fucking say shit. It's like,
No.
I have yet to come across, I haven't really looked into the idea of lizard people, like David
Bro,
Icke's thing.
conspiracy-
Oh well, David, I
But,
can't
like-
tell
It's
you
just
that
good science.
he
Outside of that, I don't think there's a conspiracy I've heard that when I looked into it, I wasn't like, yeah, man, I don't
wait,
know.
which
You
one
might
you
want-
said? Which one you
The,
said?
The
the
lizard
idea
people.
that like lizard, that there's
Well, first
shape-shifting
off, there are
lizards.
You don't
no,
believe
first
in
off-
the lizard people?
I-
bro?
I-
well, first off,
you
no.
don't believe in the reptilians?
Yo,
No,
first off, the
I-
reptilians do
No,
have the
I-
shape, the
it's-
eyes that go like this, like a cat.
I haven't like
Bro,
explored
like a
it
fucking
enough.
lizard.
They exist, bro.
The lizard
I wouldn't
people?
be surprised. I just
think they
haven't.
exist,
I
bro.
haven't explored that one
This is
enough.
I'll tell you what, I don't discount nothing. They're probably in Antarctica.
This is what
dude.
I think. I think demons, some demons, the really smart demons, figured out a way to shapeshift into humans.
All right,
And-
so just like the
and
lady of the lake of
when they
Ronkonkoma,
do- when they
who is
do-
evolved out of the fucking lake to draw in
a lady of the
patrons.
lake. LOL, yeah.
Yeah, the LOL, dude.
That bitch is real, bro. I've seen it.
Lady of the
You've
lake,
seen it.
dude.
Yeah, bro. I've seen it.
Just
her.
like that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like a shapeshifter.
That's the thing. So when they do shapeshift, bro, I think they actually transform into humans, but they're not really humans. So they're like,
This is also
Because
ties in
their
with current
origin-
events because it's like Secret Invasion, dude.
notice how
It's
like
just
all
like
the
Secret
evil,
Invasion.
ancient texts show like half human, half snake
Wait a minute.
heads.
Holy shit. That's Disney doing it again, dude. The scrolls of the lizard people.
Exactly.
They're literally shapeshifters who look like fucking lizards,
yeah.
dude.
So
Of course, it's everywhere.
Oh, so they're literally
It's-
putting it in our face.
put
Oh,
it-
it's like
well, put it. Look it up. Look it up,
Yeah.
fucking Angela.
it's like why I don't
Look
even
it
need
up,
to
right?
research.
Right?
these-
You know nothing,
right?
I don't even need to research
right?
these things
Secret
anymore.
Invasion scroll.
Just watch enough Disney and,
and,
you'll
and
figure
put,
it
and
all
put
out.
his face on it. Yeah, dude, I'm serious. They put it right in your face. They're literally shape-shifting lizards, dude.
Of course.
Insane, man.
I'm
No,
dead.
The Vatican Church looks like the snake
This is
head.
the biggest show on
Yep.
Disney Plus right now.
Yeah.
Show his face. That guy's a human, and they transform
Yeah.
like they can look like anybody, but that's what they really look like. Is a
Do you
fucking
remember
lizard.
the,
on Netflix, Lord of the Rings?
Do you
all
remember the TV show
monsters.
V? You might. That was from the 80s.
Oh,
They were lizards. They would eat mice
yeah,
and
I
shit,
do
but they
remember
came
that.
from out.
Veep.
No, V. It was just the
Oh,
letter V.
V.
Yeah. You guys, I don't know where.
Yo,
you
Wait, is
watch-
that what was the one with like the? That was a different one, bro. I'm thinking of a different one. What was the one with like the fucking baby and the fucking fat lizard guy? Fuck, dude. I can't think of the name of that shit. I know what it is. With the little fucking ugly fucking baby. Y'all don't remember that shit? Somebody fucking
Land
remembers
Beyond
that.
Time?
Say it in the fucking comments. Somebody knows what I'm fucking talking about here.
But even that, the show was called
No, that wasn't it.
Baby Yoda.
An upside down
looks
It
Like
looked like
pyramid.
fucking kind of like a little fucking.
That looks like a turd, bro.
That ain't it. Yeah, no, that ain't it. You tried, dude. You tried. Yeah, no, like 80s show, right? Like 80s show.
Well, Spider-Man, that guy that turns into a lizard guy.
Like
Amazing Spider-Man.
fat ugly baby lizard. No, fat ugly monster baby show.
Jurassic Park.
Let's just see what comes up on fat
Yo,
ugly
they
monster
have,
baby show.
Denver Airport. They have signs up saying.
Dude, I
we
went
have
there and I
lizard
was
people
searching
here.
around. So when I was in there, I was like searching everywhere. As much as I was in there, I was like, babe, we're going early. Like, I want to get to the fucking airport. Like, I wanted to
Bro.
explore.
Yeah, that
bro,
place is
yo, bro,
Blue
they got
Horse.
gargoyles that look
Satanic
like
as
they
hell.
fucking want to talk to you in that fucking thing, dude. It's creepy McGeepy in
They
there.
have a
dude.
stat. They have.
Oh,
a,
yo, that's it. That little motherfucker right there with the yellow shirt and the bug eyes, bro. What is
Oh,
that? And look, no, right here. What's it called?
Dinosaurs.
Yeah, dinosaurs, bro. No,
Oh
click the
my
top one with the. Yo, click the top one with the father and the son, bro. That's what I was talking about, bro.
I remember that, dude.
What about Barney?
Barney, bro. What about Grimace? Everybody's
Yeah.
drinking the Grimace drink and doing the stupid
Grinch.
fucking Grimace shit. That if you do that Grimace shit, you're a bozo McGillicuddy Jr., dude. Terrible fucking. This is worse than the
Barney
Tide
being
Pod.
purple.
I wish you were doing Tide Pods
Royalty.
instead. The worst fucking viral thing I've ever seen. You guys should be doing Tide Pods instead.
Well, you notice a lot of cannibalism in movies and TV shows now, bro. A lot of human eating. Like, like when we were in 7th grade, bro, our teachers showed this movie called Alive, where the plane crashes and they
I
get
remember
stuck
that.
on a fucking mountain and they have to eat their friends, their dead friends.
You know how many
Why would you show 8th graders that fucking movie?
Well,
bro?
you know how many like fucking
in school,
plots
bro.
was
Public
like.
school.
Yeah.
You know
Out
how
of
many
all the fucking movies.
yeah, but how many plots are there where somebody runs out of food and has to eat humans? It's like a million.
lot. There's
Every
too many.
zombie show ever.
Well,
In
how
a
about
world
spirit
full of
cooking? What kind of
Oh,
art is
Marina
we're gonna?
Abramovic.
Yeah, like fuck that bitch, man.
Lady
Talk about a
Gaga.
witch.
Who?
Katy
Lady
Perry.
Gaga,
Katy Perry.
Katy Perry.
has
Kanye
Katy
talked
West.
Perry,
about
Lady
eating
Gaga,
humans.
Taylor Swift,
Kanye.
demons, every single one of them.
They
demons.
talk
They
about
cloned him.
eating people.
Yeah.
Like human flesh. They talk about, oh
Yeah,
well, it
it's in the
tastes like
videos.
this.
Well, what's the code word? Don't they eat hot dogs and pizza
Hot
and
dogs,
fucking all?
pizza
They got
gang.
code word for all
Pedophilia
this weird
stuff. Yeah,
shit.
that's
I don't
all
know.
pedophilia.
All that shit's weird.
That's
to
a
me.
big one, actually. If you look into the FBI signs, it's all over my son's toys, dude. The swirl and the
pedophile logo.
pedophile logo, bro,
swirl is
is
the
on
pedophile.
fucking everything
It's on
for
Drake
children.
video.
It's insane, dude. I can't look for a toy or buy a toy or someone gives him a gift that doesn't have it on it.
I
Are you
know,
serious?
You know the
pull up
symbology,
the
bro. This is
Yeah.
good.
It's everywhere.
People need to
Moana.
study
Look at the
symbology.
Moana logo.
First of all, I
think
never
the
liked
O-
that bitch,
The O
for
has
the
the
record.
swirl.
Bro,
That movie
creepy
sucks.
ass bitch.
It's okay at best.
I watched it once.
It's like okay.
I watch movies just to point
Disney's
out.
It's
just
overrated.
terrible.
No, that's
Yo,
overrated.
You know
That
what's
one's
great about
overrated.
Disney is how you know when you're onto something in terms of programming with
Bro,
how
I just went to go
bad
see Elemental.
people get triggered.
We went to go see
Yeah.
Elemental the other day, dude. That shit was trash.
Bro.
Yo, put it on record. That shit was trash.
Look at bro.
And it was
check-
all about love. It was like elements, so like fire, water, air, all this
Yeah.
shit. And it has like fire and water, like hugging and kissing and making out for children. I'm like, why are two elements that can never miss
Were they gay?
hugging and kissing? They might as well have been.
yo.
Because it was,
It is Disney.
well, listen, a lot of people would argue they've gone a little overboard lately with like the forcing of this character has to get changed to that. This character has to do this. We have to like have inclusion for that and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, these are things for children.
it's
Like,
so
just let them
beyond,
enjoy
yeah.
the fucking stupid cartoon.
Yeah.
Why can't the kids just enjoy a normal
everything
cartoon
is
that
just
has
a
nothing to do
remake.
with sex?
It's just
Remake sequels.
And here's my theory on that. It's just a remake because they remember the age of the parents now. Remember that shit from when they were kids, so they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, let me bring you
Yeah,
because I remember
exactly.
that. We can live this vicariously together." And then it's
Yeah.
the remake,
It's a money trap. Oh, yeah.
and then you're
Well,
going to watch.
the Michael Keaton play didn't work out for DC so well. That shit tanked. They're fucking shitting bricks over there. They thought that was the golden tuna with bringing
Yo, I was gonna
Keaton back.
say, you remember the Canada fires, bro, where like everything was smoke and dust. That day, we went to see the new Transformers movie. So
I saw it too. It was
Garbage-
pretty good.
I thought it was garbage. Whatever. End of the movie, you notice like end of the movie, like they defeat the robots and then the volcano erupts, and then like just before the end of the movie, they show a scene where like they're watching the news, and then it shows New York City's under smoke. The same day, New York is actually under fucking smoke.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Notice how
And
like
isn't
the
that
fires,
shit back around today? Like not here, but like in like Chicago or
Notice how the
something. They're like
fires-
now they got it.
Notice how the fires started 6/6/23.
Well, yo, let's talk about that. We didn't even talk about the fires.
Transformers came out 6/6/23.
No way.
How
You
about
see
how
that?
about Diablo?
Diablo
the video
came out
Oh, yeah,
game.
the
6/6/23.
Diablo,
you
and
saw-
everybody and their mother's playing Diablo
But
right
you
now.
saw the giant
Angelo's
billboard.
playing in this demonic
Giant billboard
scumbag.
said, "Welcome to Hell, New York." Right?
Bro,
And
yeah.
yo, the second you
23.
start the
Yeah.
game, it's like they're sacrificing ghosts, dude.
Of course.
And if you think New York City turns orange like that because of fires that started the same day in fucking
same time,
Well, yo,
Canada,
okay,
you're
listen,
smoking.
they have the like
It's just-
satellite
they blame
image
it on
of
global
Canada,
warming, bro.
and it's like at once, like
Yeah, 7
fucking
different fires,
mad
yep.
different fires just
Yep.
started. And it's like, yo, what the fuck?
and it was for a day. So
So where the smoke just like lingered and carried all the way down, and it concentrated
I think-
right in New York.
and
I
turned
think-
it orange,
I
which
think-
just so happens
Bro,
to
it
be the
looked like-
color that what's the chemical I'm
Well, it's
thinking
the
of?
same color of Mars, which
Ammonium
isn't real
nitrate.
because it's outside of the
Yeah.
When
vermin.
ammonium nitrate oxidizes, it turns orange. And do you remember that train heist?
yeah,
like,
the
I'm not saying,
Ohio shit.
but again,
Oh, what
like
the chemical spills?
mad tons of ammonium
Yeah,
nitrate
there-
just went missing from a train.
The,
Oh,
not
yeah.
a train derailment, but there was
They
also
put it in the drinking
Yeah.
water with the citrate.
And
Bro, chemtrails on a massive level. But
First
at
off,
point.
this year I'm going on record with this too. I have been tracking chemtrails for 20 years.
it's everywhere.
This year,
Oh,
I
Lord.
have
It's
never
so bad.
in my life seen remotely this many chemtrails. Every day, hundreds of chemtrails
Bro, they're
everywhere.
blocking out the sun. Straight
Dude.
up blocking out the sun.
No,
They don't
and
want you to get
they'll
sunlight.
go right across the sky, and
They
the
go
sun's
over
up
major
here,
cities.
and then by the time the clouds are there, it's like right behind where they put the
we're
clouds.
approaching July. There hasn't been 2 days in a row of sunshine with blue
Nope.
skies,
No, there
white
hasn't.
fluffy clouds.
They fucking with the
No, the
season.
sky
It
looks
hasn't gone above
crazy every day.
75 degrees. And I saw this coming because Germany, I saw people in Germany were talking about how cold it is. The sun ain't coming out. I'm like, yo, they're fucking with that shit.
Oh, yeah.
bad.
They're changing the climate.
Big time.
They're causing the
No,
climate.
they-
And then they're going to call global warming or climate change. It's like, yeah, there is man-made climate change. It's called geoengineering from psychopaths.
Correct.
It has nothing to do with you and I driving our cars. That's not why they want our gas stoves. Did you see the thing in New York
all about
City now with the
control.
coal-fired and wood-fired pizza
Oh,
ovens,
yeah,
bro?
first off, if they-
Yeah, bro. They
It's
wanna
like,
block-
come on.
I just can I just say I want to give the key of
How about
I wa-
the lab-grown
The mayor
chickens?
needs to give the key of New York to the guy who's throwing pizza slices over the fucking mayor's.
Oh, that
gate.
art. What's his name, man?
He was-
That guy's great.
He was just throwing pizza
He's
slices.
lobbing them like grenades.
And I was like, this guy needs the key to the city. He deserves it.
That guy's great.
God bless him.
He was big when
He's
COVID
a
started.
fucking hero.
He was
He's an
down in
American
Staten
hero.
Island, yeah.
Do not fuck with our pizza.
First off, with all of the things that are wrong in this shithole, you're worried about
Pizza?
changing the best pizza in the world.
You talking about
Well,
practice?
This is I draw the line when you start fucking with New York
Bro,
pizza, dude.
These are
don't
the same
fuck with
people that
pizza,
said,
bro.
you're going to kill grandma if you don't wear a mask and you can't have your friends over for Thanksgiving. They don't give a fuck.
Bro, can
they
I
know
tell
what
you
they're
something
doing.
right now, dude? If they take away fucking pizza from New York, bro,
It might be the
there
start
will be
of a
riots.
revolution, bro.
You thought there was riots for
That's
They might
actually,
kick off the revolution that we
yo,
need.
in
It
a
might
weird
happen.
way, you're speaking facts too, but also
nobody's giving up
people
pizza,
are quite
dude.
literally
If you
addicted to
take
pizza.
Away, if you take away the coal-fired and wood-fired pizza, there's like, first off, there's like 13 places left in the city who still do that. Like, leave these guys alone. They've been there for fucking
Facts.
75, 90 years, 45 years, whatever the fucking, they've been there forever. Let these guys do their fucking
Did you
job. They're
see
serving
the
pizza, doing service.
representative who talked about the reason they want to
Oh
get
yeah,
rid
no,
of the gas
no, no.
stoves?
The thousands of city
is,
buses spewing diesel fumes out of the back of their fucking
Yeah.
shit. No, that has nothing to do with the problem in the city. The garbage all over the fucking streets, that's no fucking problem. The homeless guys shitting on the fucking streets, that's no fucking problem, right? No, that's a fucking problem. The pizza's a fucking
Yep.
problem. I draw the line there.
Yo,
I said what I
this,
said.
this lady, literally, a representative said that the reason they want to get rid of the gas stoves is because it's an internal air pollution issue. They want to regulate the air. So that goes to show you what these people really talk. Oh, I want to regulate the indoor air pollution in your home from a gas stove.
Meanwhile, when I used to live in Staten Island, you on the hot summer day from the house, you'd smell the dump.
It's got nothing to do with this shit, obviously. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, don't worry about that borough
if
though.
a politician's
Bro, I
mouth is
would-
moving, they're
I would
lying.
go further to say they have some suppressed technology where we should actually have free energy by now. They just
Oh.
don't. They're giving us old.
Oh well, they whacked
technology.
Tesla. We all know that.
They're giving
Nikola
us this
Tesla got whacked
electric
because he had free
cars.
energy.
They're giving
Yo, the
us
Tesla
electric.
coil, the whole thing, it's all proven science. Like,
Bro, did you
motherfuckers
know-
can recreate it right now.
They had electric
not allowed
cars
to.
in 1912. They had
Yeah.
electric cars and they had autopiloted electric cars. So now they're
Yeah.
selling that shit back to us as if it's advanced technology.
Yeah, just like that laptop they found at the bottom of the Atlantic. You know about
In the
that?
meantime-
you know about that? That
Yeah.
weird fucking fossilized fucking laptop
In the
thing? You know
meantime-
what I'm talking about?
It's-
Yeah.
Well, Tartaria. Most people
Well,
don't even know about Tartaria.
Most
And-
people don't know about Tartaria.
and the mud flood and like all these technologies, like you're saying, free energy. There was free energy. Cathedral,
Well,
cathode.
people say that the pyramids.
magic, right?
That's why they were designed certain ways.
Yeah,
Well, people
and they
said
have
the
the
pyramids,
spires. They
too.
look like all electrical type. All
Conductors.
these, yeah, man. They're all this
They're
ancient
shaped. You know, look at the old
architecture.
churches in Mars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
all
why
those
they had the
points and
domes.
shit. Yeah, it was supposed to
They were
conduct
grabbing
energy.
energy
Yeah.
from, bro.
A church organ. They used to literally heal. There would be a place to go for healing because the vibrations of the organ. That's why it's called an organ. The
And the
sounds are
church
literally
bells.
gonna-
And the church bells.
yeah,
Yes.
sound and
Yo,
energy.
China
Right?
just
Energy,
announced
frequency.
they got this new.
First off, let's go back to the DMT shit. With the DMT shit,
Yes.
there was a different frequency with every chakra. I felt it. There's no sound in the experience. It's like you feel it. You feel the sound. And there was all different frequencies throughout it. And
What was
during
the,
the
like,
chakra
what was
stuff,
the
it was
message
like
they
one
gave you,
frequency,
bro?
one frequency. It was all different frequencies.
Those like entities, like they try to speak to you, like they said something.
Telepathic. They don't say it. They
Right.
approach you. You feel their energy. Let's see, like one of them was like very like a loving, embracing, like warm, welcoming energy, and then the next thing you know, it's like, oh, I'm the goddess of death. By the way, I just seduced you.
Yeah.
It was like, see, that's how I could. And then it was like in your head. It was like I was trying to teach you a lesson. See, you can't trust what you're seeing. Not like, and it was. At one point, I remember vividly, an energy approached me, right?
Yeah.
And immediately, it was just like they were giving me information, and the information immediately just popped in my head. And it was like, time isn't real. It's a made-up construct by man. Forget everything you know about time, it said. Whatever you know about time, just forget it right now, because
Time is your perception.
it's
of
all
it.
bullshit.
Yeah.
It is. Bro, a fly feels time
So that's what I'm
differently
saying.
than
Is like
you
they
do.
didn't say it, but it just made me feel that. It was like immediately in my head, it was just like, wow, what? Time isn't real? Like, what?
Time isn't real, bro. It's like how you perceive time. That's why every animal, every different creation perceives time differently.
Yep.
That's why,
Of
like,
course.
when you,
That's why a
and-
hummingbird's like,
when you try to smack a fly,
Fucking
that flies,
like-
it
Back-
flies like
back-
so fast because it sees you in such slow motion because
yeah,
it
no
perceives
kidding. You
time
can't
differently.
smack it because it's going fucking through
And
time
also,
in a
like,
different way.
like they have so many different eyes, bro. Like they don't have 2 eyes; they have like fucking 50
Yeah.
eyes on each side. It's crazy. So imagine how they.
There's
fucking
word
perceive
magic
time.
in time too. Tie me, time, I'm me.
Exactly.
Like you,
That's
you're
why you
being
wear
tied
it on
down.
your-
you're,
you wear
you're,
your
you're-
watch on
they're
your
fucking with your
arm.
mind.
And it gives it a frequency because it rotates in a back, kind of like backwards manner. So it's almost like you're counting down to your end, basically. It's just all negative.
Time in general.
There's no
I mean,
need
I
for
still
time.
wear a watch.
No, there's
so-
no need
If
to
we were
time.
living as humans should, we literally would just go by the sun, the path of the sun across the sky, the path of the moon over the month, and there you go. And you could just use time in terms of what is the sun. We're so disconnected from that. Like even us just sitting here. What time is it right now? Like
You know what it is?
we
'Cause
should be
we're
asleep.
taught.
Like
We're taught.
we should be sleeping.
We're taught it's.
It's
we're
like,
taught
What about
it's.
time travel, bro? Let's get into that shit, bro. Is that real?
Well,
I
do you
think it's
believe?
real.
Do you believe these
I
like
think time travel
guys
is
would
real.
sell you like all the pictures they have of old people, like 1938? There's like a girl on a cell phone. They say that's like time travelers,
Bro, it's so simple. It's definitely 100% real. If you-
or they had cell phones. and we
Every
don't know
time
that.
you look up into the sky and what you see is a reflection of something past. So like what you're seeing is not that star. That star might have, went out, but you're seeing its reflection, and because it's traveling in so slow motion, what you're seeing is history. So that shit is actually time travel. But it's not really there. So if you try to reach that star, you're not gonna make it because it might not be there. So when you like that, if you watch the movie Interstellar, it's very interesting. Like they go out into space, and the guy goes out, and it feels like a couple of weeks, but his daughter turns 40 years old by the time he gets back to Earth. But he hasn't aged a bit.
Yeah, that's
Because
like
if you travel in such speed,
that's like in the blip in Marvel. They do all the time travel stuff in Marvel, and like the guys who disappeared in the blip, they come back. They're the same age, but everybody else aged 5 years.
I have the craziest conspiracy theory about the Antichrist being a time traveler, bro. I think that motherfucker is from the future where the world ended, and then he saw the end, and he came back in time to defeat. Like he came back in time
to try to change history.
Try to change history and kill Jesus and
so like every superhero movie ever right now, because that's what everything's about is like going back in time and fixing stuff.
Well, like notice how like the Christian prophecy, the Islamic prophecy,
the Flash just did that. The Avengers did that.
Ends in the battle of the big battle, and the battle is between the Christ and Antichrist, matter and antimatter, positive and negative, positive force and anti-force. Jesus being good and
so do you think antimatter, like dark matter, the thing that's like literally the most unexplainable thing in science right now, do you think that's what you're talking about?
I think it's all connected, because how else do you explain like how everything in the fucking world, everything that we understand is created in a positive and negative. Every fucking thing you can imagine has a positive and it has a negative. Maybe there's a negative version of you in another multiverse. There's a negative Mike or something.
Yeah, true.
You know, like it could be, bro. There's sadness, there's happiness, there's
forgot you're a Mike.
You know,
well, you never. Nobody ever met a Mike they didn't like.
There's sunny days, there's rainy days.
So always call you B-Tone.
There's the good, there's the evil. It's the ultimate battle. Like it's literally, and it's all gonna come to a conclusion. And it's like, how is it in every creation? How is that possible? There's matter, there's neutrons, there's protons. You know what I mean?
There's
like
electrons.
There's electrons.
Yeah, so
there's the non-binary. There's the fucking, you know.
It is. No, it's a positive, a negative, and a ground always, right? Sun is your positive, moon is your negative, the ground is the earth, your proton, your electron, your neutron.
What about everything? The stars?
It's three. Electricity, right? You have a positive hot wire, negative wire, and the grounding wire. So yeah, and
so you have matter, you have antimatter, and that's probably what the black holes are made of. And like this is what's crazy. This is where it gets even trippier. In the Quran, it says. It's also about a guy named Zulkarnain. I told you about Zulkarnain.
This shit is interesting.
So Zulkarnain sees the end of the world, and he sees the world and the sun and everything is getting sucked into a dark, muddy hole, kind of like it's in Surah Kehf, and like it's very vivid. It's very clear, like how it explains it. It literally tells you the whole solar system is going to get sucked into black hole. Black hole being made of antimatter. So if we came from a bang, we came from something, we're going to go into nothing.
And what about the time traveler in the Quran?
The time traveler...
and aren't there multiple times? Some people were given...
Zulkarnain is a time traveler.
Yeah, the same guy, right?
The same guy.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying.
That's why he was able to see the end times. And back in history, he stopped the Gog and Magog species from causing... chaos on the planet, and he buried them between the two mountains. But then the end of the world, they're going to be revealed or whatever. So people thought they live underground and they're going to come out of the grounds, but some people now interpret it as, myself too, I interpret it as they're going to come out of portals. I think they could be aliens, and they're going to start coming down like the fucking movie Avengers, like all the aliens.
As far as predictive programming goes, it doesn't get any more fucking on the money than fucking aliens right now. They've been pushing that agenda all the fucking year, dude. Hard.
Real hard.
Like, first off, 2 years ago, you were an absolute kook to even talk about aliens. Now every mainstream fucking outlet is talking about aliens every day.
It's funny how fast the narrative can change. And
also, did you see Jeremy? I gave you the link. Jeremy Corbell put out the fucking statement that the dude, someone in the government, someone big in the government, I forget who it is, someone big in the government, like had a whistleblower come to them from the government and be like, yo, like, we recovered craft, we're working on it, my team's working on it, like, shit is going down, like, it's moving very quickly, like.
Who's the biggest whistleblower you think?
Bob Lazar.
I got even better than that.
Who?
The prophets, bro. That's why they're called prophets. Because they come with prophecies, because God showed them the end. So the prophets themselves are time travelers, and in the Quran it tells you like
about aliens,
about miracles of the prophets, how they were able to ascend into the next dimension where God was speaking to them and telling them things of the future, so they could give you the prophecies so they could give you the warning about the devil and his plan for you. That's why the Prophet Muhammad and Jesus, peace be upon all of them, they gave you prophecies, they gave you warnings about what the fuck we're going through right now. All the shit we're going through, all the satanic shit we're going through.
Even the alien shit?
Yeah, like like this is what's fucked up is like everybody that believes in like Jesus, that believes in Islam. You know, in Islam, we don't believe in Muhammad. We believe in God. We believe Muhammad is a prophet of God, just like we believe Jesus is a prophet of God. But like people, besides the belief part of it, people forget about the prophecies. These people are called prophets for a reason. They came with prophecies, and nobody takes it seriously. But they have like really good information about the fucking future. They have straight up information about the future. Like Prophet Muhammad tells you all these prophecies about how the Arabs are gonna race each other trying to make bigger buildings, and people are gonna get their information from a piece of rectangular rug. He called it, kind of talking about television. He tells you like all these things about in the end times that Antichrist is gonna be one-eyed and this and that. It's in the back of the dollar. It's one-eyed. It's the symbology for the devil. There's so much like information that nobody like, bro. Religion is very informative. That's my point. Like, there's so much wisdom in the Bible and
I've always said all the scriptures,
in the Quran especially, bro. Like so much wisdom that
all the scriptures. Listen,
Yeah.
bro. Back then, they weren't writing these things down to be saved forever for no reason.
Exactly.
Even myths, were written down for one reason or another. For some, it wasn't written down for no reason. They weren't just making up like fiction nursery rhymes back then for funsies. There wasn't Hollywood to make money off of this shit. There was nothing to gain from it. Even if it was a made up story, it was like
there's nothing to gain from it. Exactly. Except it's like if you come to a basic understanding of the book itself, what do you get? Like if you ask me, like, what do you get out of the God's message when you read the Quran? Like, what's the main? Obviously, it tells you how to live your life the best way and this and all that. Like, there's so many stories about that.
Well, all religion teaches you morals, too.
It teaches you morals, and it also really specifically warns you about the devil and his ways.
Most religions have some focus
so
on at least instilling some kind of good morals into you.
Exactly. And why would God specifically, in so many different ways, warn you about the devil? Because this is your test in life. This is what we're being tested in life with. We're being tested. Whether you're an atheist, Muslim, Christian, whoever you are, you're going to be tested because the devil hates everybody equally. The devil is a straight enemy to you, God says in the Quran. He can get through you. He can get inside you. He can possess you. He can use demons against you. It tells you not to practice magic. And it tells you all his ways. And it calls the Antichrist a Dajjal, a deceiver. Also, the word Dajjal, that's a whole different story, but I think has something to do with digital, bro. So the demons in the Quran, it explains the demons are made from a smokeless fire. So I think, this is my theory, the smokeless fire refers to electric. And I think the Dajjal is a digital artificial intelligence. I think the Antichrist system, the New World Order, as we see it right now, is literally artificial intelligence system itself is the New World Order. And it's going to trap you into, this is where the prophecies comes in. This is how I connect all the dots. So the prophecy says it's the metaverse. Like it says the devil is going to approach you, kind of like Morpheus in the Matrix, bro. You know, Morpheus comes to you.
We're all living in the Truman Show Matrix.
Red pill, blue pill, right? So red pill, you go back to your life. Neo, you know, you're a fucking computer hacker. Blue pill. So red pill, I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. The Antichrist is going to approach you, it says, with fire and water. It says it's fire.
I always wondered, side note, like what happens if you take both?
I don't think that's an option. I'm trying to mix shit up right now, man.
But I always worried, like, what would happen if you take both, though?
I don't think God would be pleased with that. I think God wants you to.
I think that might be DMT. I think DMT might be both.
Bro, if you have.
I guess nothing happens. You'll cancel each other out, right?
If you have control over your mind.
You have to choose.
That's possible, too.
Right.
Choice is an illusion, yo. It's the consequence. You know, I'm trying to be like
that is true too, though,
bro. It's just
every
shit, man.
Almost not every. Most choices we're given are illusion.
But this is where free will comes in, man. This is where like shit gets deep. This is when I think of like the purpose and why we're created and this and that. This is when I like try to answer these questions in my head, like why are we fucking here, this and that. bro, the reason God made us special is because we have free will. If like this is why people like this is the argument of an atheist, right? Atheists will come to you and say like, so why did God create evil? Why is there so much injustice in the world? I think it's because he's telling you this is temporary. He's telling you all this shit, good or bad, it's all gonna come to a conclusion where you will be judged and you will be into eternal heaven or hell. So that's a fair system, first of all. Second of all, if evil did not exist, you would not understand what good is.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, bro, like if I didn't if I wasn't able to punch you in the face, you would not know how it hurts. So you would not know the meaning of being healthy. So it would mean nothing. So God wants you to have faith, and God wants it to mean something. So like it says in the Quran, angels were created in a way they don't have free will. They only can obey God. That's it. There's no free will. There's no choice for them. However, we and the jinns, the demons, we have free will. We can choose to do good. We can choose to do evil. It's always your choice. You can get up tomorrow. You can fucking shoot people, or you could just go to work, eat a fucking sandwich, watch a movie, go to sleep. You can just be a good human being, or you can be bad. That's why, like, faith is important, bro. Faith, like, straightens you out. If you have no faith, you could be a school shooter. You could be a fucking terrorist. You could fucking do evil shit. But if you do have faith, if you have an understanding that there's a judgment in the end of all things, then God, like, the fear of consequence will stop you. Your logic will stop you from doing evil.
Yeah, but some would argue that was put in place for more control, which we all know that's what they want.
But then there's the fact that it's all temporary. So how do you explain that? So either way, you're gonna die, right? So what decides that, you know, there's why would you not do something evil? What's to stop you from doing evil? If you have no faith, then God does not exist, and there is no judgment.
Morals.
So where do you get these morals?
Like I said, a lot of people, I feel like in our generation and before us, got most of their morals from religion.
Yeah, but what does morals even mean? It's like you were saying about a consequence. What does that mean, morals? That's why I'm not going to do it. It's like I would say you then the choice is how you feel with what you're doing. I guess,
but morals is also like
right?
weighing out the repercussions of your actions, and is it really something that's productive for you, or what is it something positive or negative you're doing? There is positive and negative. We know that.
Yeah, but like for someone, for an intelligent design, that's such a like not satisfying answer. Because if you're such an intelligent design, which you are,
well, I mean that's
the answer
not
is
debatable.
The answer is not like obviously everything's debatable, but the answer is well.
No, but we are intelligently designed. Like,
we are intelligently designed.
We are
without a doubt, right?
We did not come from primordial soup.
It's not a consequence.
We were not. No.
System within inside you.
We were not the swamps under Walt Disney, and now we're human.
Yeah, we're not like a couple of atoms came together.
Shape-shifting monkeys.
Fucking yeah, bro.
No thanks.
So
I mean, I don't know.
Design.
Maybe the Anunnaki fucked the lizard people, and here we are. I don't know, but something happened.
I think it's like for example, if you look at this laptop, if you were an alien and you just came to this planet and you just saw this laptop, you would be like, all right, so there's a button.
It's a black mirror, first off.
Well, it's a fucking black mirror, but like there's a button, there's cables going through it, there's a screen, so there's way it works. You know that you plug it in, it works. If you put this shit in water, it doesn't work. So there's you would say you wouldn't assume this is just bada bing, it just happened coincidentally. You would just say this is an intelligent design. It has to have a designer. So if there's a designer, it has to have a fucking guide. So every fucking thing that's designed comes with an instruction manual. Hence, fucking humans, bro. We come with an instruction manual. That's the Torah. That's the first 10 commandments. It started with the 10 commandments, and then the Bible, the gospel, and then as people corrupted it.
I would say it starts with the Epic of Gilgamesh.
I think
we're definitely not.
Yeah.
Well,
that's part of it anyway.
It all started with Adam and Eve.
Yeah, but all of that mythology came from the original mythology from the Sumerians. It's literally it's the same stories. It's just slightly changed.
Yeah. We're certainly not following the instruction manual. Most people. That's for sure.
No.
The disconnect.
Well, the problem is
off the rails.
we don't
Big
read
time.
the instruction manual.
Humanity is off the rails for sure. It's so disconnected, and like AI being the devil, they want you connected to that for a reason. They want you disconnected from yourself, your source. God, and they want you connected to this fucking bullshit
So
matrix.
my question would be,
digital
Skynet.
reality.
what's the devil's ultimate plan, you think, bro? That's my question to you guys.
I
What do you think it is?
To-
I think I have an understanding of it.
I haven't spent too much time thinking about it, but I think in terms of the way AI and this metaverse is going, to trick you into being trapped here in this kind of like realm, or just where this is supposed to be like a school almost, right? Like a human experience, like you were saying, your choices matter, judgment. And then, okay, when your human body dies, well, where do you stand? And now you can get trapped in this where you never get that option of being judged and ascending into either heaven or being punished in hell.
So he traps you in the in between.
Yeah, you're just stuck, and yeah, you're just basically then that's truly
You know what
dying.
it is? Once he gets you in the matrix, you're stuck, is what you're saying.
Because
What
then
is the
you're
Matrix
done.
Then? So
Because-
then Matrix is hell.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's my theory is that the devil, he doesn't need to depopulate, bro. He doesn't. Well, he can use depopulation for his agendas, but his main objective, bro, I think, is just to have your free will against you. So he needs you to commit a big sin. This is how people sell their soul to the devil, bro. They commit a big sin where they can't repent from.
True.
And God is specifically warning you about the big sins. What are the big sins? Pedophilia, human sacrifice, all this shit. You don't have to be religious to agree like it's a big fucking sin,
Yeah.
right? Any atheist would tell you don't fuck kids, right?
Correct.
So
I would hope so.
Well, I hope so too. All these things that God would not, any reasonable God would not forgive you, right?
Right.
The devil needs you to commit a big sin that you can't repent from.
Okay, so then he got
So
you.
then he got you by contract. You sold your soul to the devil. In other words, you're fucking.
So
you're going
basically,
to
what
hell.
you're
You
saying
don't get
is
it back.
like all
Yeah.
these like Hollywood and big money
Everything.
elites.
This
they all
applies to
did
everything.
They all did something that
This
damn.
applies
Big
to
time.
everything.
Sacrifices
This is
all
why
over the place.
people choose this shit. With people weak in faith, choose money and fame over eternal heaven because they don't believe in it. So they don't have a faith system. So they fall victim to the devil easily. So the devil needs to disconnect people from faith so he can manipulate you.
Mhm.
And if you live in fear, he can manipulate you. But if you believe in God, you don't fear these shits.
Mm-hmm.
This is why faith is important. Faith is like the backbone of a human being, bro. If you don't have faith, you will be
I said,
easily
you gotta
manipulated.
have faith.
You gotta have faith, bro.
And
That's
all,
why I
all-
respect someone with faith than someone without it, bro.
Yep.
Because someone with faith, with reasonable person.
If I could touch your body.
all fear is also inherently connected to the fear of death.
'Cause
So
I know
and if you have faith, there's nothing to fear,
It's got
There's
a
nothing
body
to fear.
like me.
right?
Exactly.
Like this is just an illusion in itself.
Death is just the beginning, bro.
But, yeah. So
So when you
that's,
die, that's
that
when
was
you
an
elevate
overwhelming
to-
theme that I had during my DMT. We're full circle. That was an overwhelming theme I felt during the DMT experience. Was that like, oh, so this is just that would just be the beginning.
yeah, like
Death is definitely just the beginning. It has to be. It has to be. This is why, like, it's so simple for someone to like.
Well,
think
what do you
about-
guys think about reincarnation? You think that's total bullshit?
What do you think about what happens when
because
you go to
I
sleep?
don't.
the Indian culture is huge into that shit, and they seem to be right about some other shit.
What do you think about when you go to like? This is something that people like oversee, and it bothers me. Like, you do DMTs to feel some kind of like, connect to some dimensions and this and that. But every night you go to sleep.
No, it's an intergalactic roller coaster experience of epic proportions. This isn't just some.
No, it's not. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to talk down. Like I'm trying.
I'm
to
just saying because once you ride the roller coaster, there's no doubt about it.
I don't doubt it. I don't
Yeah.
doubt it. I don't doubt it. I'm just saying. I'm like, my point was like, bro. So when you go to sleep, you literally, your heart slows down, your eyes shut down, yet you see things and it feels real.
Well, it's because
And
you're
you feel
producing
things and it
DMT
feels
out of
good.
your pineal gland, and
so
you're literally
so
tripping.
So exactly. So you're able to create it, even though you're.
That's why they call it the
body,
spirit molecules, because they say it's like the transport of your consciousness.
Exactly. So who's to say when you die, and they've proven
Oh,
that.
there is no one could say that.
So exactly. So it's been proven.
Oh, to some degree it has.
So like, how can you be like a not faithful person knowing that there's life after death?
Well, all near-death
When it's
experiences
literally
are
certain.
eerily similar. Most people have a similar experience, and a lot of those near-death experiences are very similar to what people recollect from their DMT experiences. So it's hard to discredit people who are having these these experiences that both either dying or doing DMT, people claim to be more vivid and more real than real. Because that was another overwhelming theme I felt was, wow, this shit feels more real than real life. Like that's an overwhelming thing that many people feel during near-death experiences and psychedelic experiences.
And in sleep.
And in sleep.
And in sleep.
Well, they're all interconnected, the three.
Exactly.
Because they put you in a different consciousness,
That's
period.
why there's other dimensions. You know, like in your sleep, you jump through timelines.
When you're near death, when you're sleeping, or when you're on a high dose of psychedelics, you're in the same disconnected consciousness that you're not normally in.
Your astra, whatever.
You're in a different metaphysical form.
Different dimension. And time.
Well, here's the thing: it's hard to differentiate when you experience it. Dimensions and consciousness. There's some intersection of the two that it's combined to be its own thing. Consciousness and perspective and all that stuff. It's all interconnected somehow. Where together it makes its own thing.
I think that's through time.
Time isn't real though, so then that's another part of it.
Of course,
and neither is gravity.
Well, here's where I'm gonna get trippy again. So this is why when you disconnect with time moves differently.
Well, yeah, in DMT it felt like I was there for like 25 years and it was 5 minutes.
Exactly. You take a nap for 5 minutes and you live a whole event.
Oh, you could go to sleep at night and literally you're like, was that like 14 lifetimes? What the fuck was that?
Right.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
So the fake time that we invented as humans has an effect on our fucking ability to understand life.
It's part of the perception and the perspective, like I said.
So if we can get over time somehow, we can see more.
It's something about the third eye opening that disconnects you from that time. However you do it, whether it's holotropic breathing or meditation or yoga or DMT. When you open that third eye, however it happens, when it does happen, it does take you there. You're now seeing through something that you've never been able to see before. You feel in a different way you could feel before. It opens up a different realm.
In terms of sleep, too, like we don't think about it like, what are we tapping into? What are we connecting to that gives us the energy? You get tired, you go to sleep. It's like your phone starts dying, you plug it in. We can see the wire, plug it into the wall, it's electricity. But as humans, we don't think about sleep as what are we connecting to that's giving us energy?
Pineal gland, ball.
But I'm saying, what is that? Like that's extracting energy from somewhere. It's not, the energy isn't in us, and then it just comes, and because I slept and I'm not tired and I have energy, I'll go, play football. It's like you're tapping into something, you're connecting to something. And so that's beyond us, and I don't know if it's even explainable.
Nobody can explain dreams or death or psychedelics.
Yeah, you can only experience them.
Because the only way you can is, like you said, to actually have it happen.
And that's why it's cool to talk about stuff, but once you start labeling things or describing them, and like there's even like a doctrine of things, for me, it's like, I want to experience. So even being a good human being, I want to experience what it means to be good. I don't want to fuck with evil. But you have to know evil to know that you don't want to fuck with it. Right?
Exactly.
Like, I don't think I'm a good person because I'm not capable of evil. I think I'm a good person because I've done some evil things. I know what evil is, and I don't want to fuck with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, us three could definitely all agree on that, and we could definitely all agree on the fact that this AI stuff is some kind of Skynet situation. And as far as Skynet goes, while we're on the subject, hasta la vista, baby.
Peace.
Assalamu alaikum.